Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's a pleasure for me to be back here on Metaguild together with Kartoa. We're going to be hosts and casters for the semifinals and finals of the Skyweaver collaboration between Metaguild and Horizon Games to bring you the most exciting tournament, the Discovery Mode tournament that we've worked so far internally, and we're pretty excited to finally have some Skyweaver events going on after a while. So I'll just go really briefly through my experience with the game and Kartoa experience with the game. So I've been playing full-time actually this past winter. I've been playing a lot of Discovery. It was my main thing. I didn't play as much Constructed as Kartoa did. And I eventually had to stop to pursue my casting career in other esports, and I'm finally back on the title together with the Metaguild guys. And what about you, Kartoa?
Yeah, once again, hello everyone. Nice to meet you all, guys. And I'm very excited. Like we wanted to make a Skyweaver tournament like a year ago, and like we just didn't have tools. Like we didn't have like spectator format and stuff like this. So now finally it's alive, and like we are going to broadcast it. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. I can share a little bit about my background experience. So yeah, me and Volkan, we played Hearthstone previously, so like we're very well aware of this genre. Like we are, let's say, we were trying like to be professional. We were professionals at some point, and right now I'm playing lots of Constructed. Like I'm hanging out around like top 30 ranked leaderboard, and yeah, of course, before the last changes, I played lots of Discovery. So we're gonna see very nice Discovery games today.
Yeah, for those who are not familiar with the mode, like it's actually what drew me into the game. Discovery mode is a free-to-play friendly mode where you don't even need to build your own deck. You just select a hero. It could be a playing crystal, like a whole crystal, or a hybrid between two crystals. And you basically play an archetype that's randomly generated by the AI, and that goes for your opponent as well. So it's really similar to those type of tournaments where you just buy a starter deck and you play with that without being able to manipulate your card list. So it's really balanced. The AI does a really good job balancing the spells and the creatures, if we can call them so. And it makes for a really competitive environment, actually. It might be a bit RNG-ish in the single game, but of course, if you have a big sample of games, the better players will come on top. And that's why we're playing best of 3, and the finals will be best of 5. So I expect a lot of quality games right now. And I say that we could be ready to start things off as soon as our admins give us the ability to spectate our 2 players, which is going to be Infernix and Zato. So it's been quite a long tournament already. The guys have been playing for quite few hours. I think they started off at 12 Central European time, so it's already been 4 or 5 turns of plays, and I guess it's already a pretty high quality bracket that we're expecting. So I'm loading up my game. I'm loading up my 2 spectator links, and we're gonna be able to show their perspective as well in a second.
Yeah. And it's very interesting that, let's say, like you have 3 heroes to choose, and you need to win with both of them. So let's say people are usually like jamming, like only one class, they're playing this one hero all this time. And this is like more, let's say, some people are counters to the others. And it's very interesting to see this dynamic, like how people are aware of this Discovery meta, like what's good right now, and are the people trying to like counter opponents' heroes this way. So yeah, we'll see this interesting dynamic, what's going on with counter picks, let's say.
Yeah, I was when I used to play, I didn't mess with the hybrids. I was always going for consistent decks. And I mean, after all, if you play a ton of Discovery, as I said, you want to have a big sample of games. And so my thing was to just go for consistent classes. I remember playing a lot of Ada, and mainly that was my thing. Yeah, I was spamming Ada all day long. Some Lotus when I felt like playing a little more slow and more reactive to the opponent's playstyle. But yeah, I guess that with time, even the Discovery meta developed, and people are more and more familiar with the hybrids, with the double prisms.
Yeah, and I actually I jumped lots of Samia. It's like the most aggressive you can find, and you just play this
Also
aggressive.
Samia.
And she was like in meta for so long, like until cards were like literally nerfed so much that
I do remember that.
it
I
was
had
not
to
that good
drop
anymore.
eventually playing Samia myself.
Yeah. Because games were fast. Like the games were really fast, and it was just like a very nice, let's say, advantage. Like you can just play 2-3 games, for example, instead of like waiting for one game with I don't know Ari or like any kind of control prism. So yeah, it's very nice.
Okay, I'm making sure that my admins and our admins and directors are all ready, and the player are just waiting for our starting sign. Okay, they'll be starting soon. So we have our spectator links ready. We're just starting for the guys to pick their classes. So as you said, it's not like a full on every hero goes. You have to like select your 3 heroes for the final, of course, because once you play the best of 3s, you're gonna have at least 2 wins to move on in the bracket. So you have to select 2 heroes, and for the finals that are gonna be best of 5, you're gonna have 3, because of course it's best of 5, or as they say, first to 3 is another way to say best of 5. So you have 3 heroes. There's no ban, of course, so you don't need any more than that. So the 2 heroes have been locked for these 2 players. I don't know if we can watch through the bracket what they played. I don't think we have that possibility right now.
Yeah, it would be actually very, very nice. But yeah, I can't find this in community gaming. So yeah,
Yeah, there's no info about that. We're just gonna have to see once the game starts what they selected.
Okay. It's a little bit sad, but I guess it's okay.
What would you play if it was you participating in a tournament like this?
Actually, I haven't played in a long time Discovery. It's I mean I played it while they had this very nice like Switch, and like I want to talk about this a little bit later with you. But now is Discovery like the second format? Conquest is the main format. And our Constructed is the main format,
Yes.
and the game is starting already. So yeah, we can see.
Awesome. We're in.
Yeah, we are in, and it is
Lotus
and Naxel, yes? Yeah.
Yes. So a hybrid Wisdom and Wisdom Hearth. So how can we describe briefly these two types of archetypes? Like Lotus is like pure control, right? It's just reactive solutions to what their opponent wants to play out, and you have many ways to stabilize the board and to make it so that your opponent cannot be aggressive towards you. But when you put a little bit of heart into it, like Zato 1 did, you start to have some sort of board control, your own creatures, and with heart, a lot of ways to revive those creatures as to present many threats to your Yeah.
So I'm not sure who is more favorite right now.
Hmm.
And by the way, I will be looking from Infernix side mostly because I have some technical difficulties with.
Yeah, me too. I'm having like a blinking interface. Yeah.
So if our team has a way know a way how to fix it, it would be great. But we already see the very fast start from Zata. You see what he did. He already has like it's turn 3 and he has 3/6 on board with an armor, and this 3/6 will also draw him card when it will be dead. So it's actually very, very big threat from his side.
Okay, so we're being told that actually to stop the blinking, we have to spectate only one player at a time. So it's gonna be making it a little bit confusing for us. But yeah, I mean, you could say that it's like in the spirit of discovery. You have to play around so many things at the same time because you don't know what your opponent is gonna play. So even if the broadcast reflects that, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna survive that. So I'm watching through Infernix perspective as of now.
Me too. Yeah,
Okay.
That's great. And yeah, so far we see like the good depth tempo like from both sides. They're quite even right now. And I can already tell that this Lost in Fog is a very interesting card for on an Earth Golem because it dusts it, so his opponent will not gain 10 health when he dies. it's a very interesting mechanic. So I guess it will be used very fast.
Yeah.
And mhm.
I mean, if it was me having this type of board development in Zato's shoes, I would be really happy with it, because what Lotus really suffers is having to remove right away to not have his HP go too low. I mean, this game does not have that many chances to restore your HPs. So when you are being the aggressor, like Zato is in the matchup, even if you just start hitting in the early game, it's really good, because in the late game, your opponent is going to have less solutions to your bigger threats.
Yeah, and by the way, new card, Fat Cat Bunker, you haven't seen it before. It's a very nice tempo card, but it's better. So after your opponent plays a card, draw a card. If your hand is full, summon 3/3 micro drone instead. So it's very nice, like generator of cards, and it's like when your hand is empty, it's like tempos with 3/3 on board. So yeah, it's very interesting. But so far we can see that Infernix doesn't have a way to play it. He's pushed on board, and he needs to find some kind of AoEs, or at least figure out how to clear this board.
Yeah, he's already in that spot where he needs to do something about the opponent development, and he cannot really do anything. He just has his own development in his end. But in Skyweaver, you don't have really fast ways to make your creatures interact with the opponents unless they have dash, or unless they have really cheap spells attached to them, or some other summoning effects like Allbane, for example, for Hardware, which once he's dropped, deals 3 to the whole board. So yeah, at the moment, Infernix is having a really clunky hand. It's not drawing those cards that make Lotus a really reactive hero at the moment.
Yeah, but if you look at, for example, for his deck, he has a Doomsday that destroys all units.
Yeah, I saw that.
He at least have one very big AoE, and
yes.
If he can survive long enough and clears his board with this, it's actually very nice. And look, he found the Natural Grasp.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's extremely good, because these 1/1s actually they're ineffective. Like, you don't want to spend 3 mana to play these roots. Like, it's okay, he plays it on 5 mana card on Bookcase, but these 1/1s will be awkward on the board, and they will just take space on it. So it's not very nice.
Yeah, that's one of the most tempo cards I can think of that Lotus has. You spend 4 mana, you don't actually remove anything, but you make your opponent aggression really slow, because he has to manually pay to remove the roots, which are the attachment you can see on Zato's creatures as of now. I'm gonna go and take a look at how Zato is doing from his perspective now. I'm really curious to see how he is doing. And so we're watching the game through the eyes of Infernix, as he was like the control deck that cannot afford to be aggroed by the opponent. But let's see how the aggressor is doing, actually. So I can spoil to you, Kartoa, how Zato end is going. And he's got some pretty clunky hand on his own. He has Angelo, which is really slow card to make some resurrections later on. So the 2/6 body is together with a Second Chance, a card that summons your top dead unit. And he has Prismata already, which is a good control versus control win condition, where you dust a target light ally and you conjure a spell of each other element, and they cost only 1. So in the Lotus mirrors, for example, in any Wisdom mirrors, that card is the MVP most of the times, and Zato already has that in his end.
Yeah, it is, but actually from Infernix side, he has also one very strong late condition. It's called Mixolatron. So this is like a new 5 mana card. It's 3/5 lifesteal dash. And it says whenever you draw or conjure a card, you draw and conjure the highest cost card possible. So he has like very, when he plays it in an empty deck, and he plays it combination with Mixolatron Hydrate, he draws 3 the most expensive cards from different elements. So he's also have very, very strong late condition, but he needs to survive to it, because so far he is quite losing on board, losing on HP, and he doesn't have much time. So that is pressuring very nice.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be really tough with that type of end. Usually when you're Lotus, You want to reset much faster than Infinix did and start developing your own threats, like your own engines. Usually Lotus doesn't have very beefy cards stat-wise. He has cards that are really annoying if they stick to the board. Like, look what Zato did here. If it wasn't for the Grasping Maiden, he would be able to use the second chance out of Angelo, but thank God Infinix could resort to the Grasping Maiden, remove Angelo, and just slow down the Zato one pace a little bit. So that was really clutch play, but as you can see, there's right away a miss Aya into gift of Aya to just get some HPs going on and to get some board development. But I guess that for this 10 mana, it's not that much going on for Zato. He wants to be way more aggressive than this at the moment, I guess.
By the way, what's your opinion on this Grasping Maiden? It's also like one of the recent cards, and like he just dusted this unit, but when this Maiden dies, this Angelo will come back on the board for Zato. So it's very interesting mechanic. He has to find the way, let's say, to not just to not give this Maiden just for free, or like when it dies, he wants to AOE like make this kind of like attack at one point. So it's very interesting card in Discovery.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those good cards as removals. I remember my Magic the Gathering days when the removals were really precious cards overall, and that goes for Grasping Maiden as well. Well, once you find a lot of removals and a very few specific threats for the late game that you can call win conditions, you are pretty much set with Lotus. So I can say that for the moment, the deck that Infinix is bringing, it's really good for this type of mirror, even though it was suffering a little bit in the early game. Because if you're too slow, if you only have reactive cards, your opponent can just put down an engine card like Angelo and you're pretty much screwed. You're pretty much dead right away because you don't have any solutions to that, and it keeps generating value. So now it's the time that Infinix goes on the offense and finally has some space to play out the Fat Cat Banker.
Yeah, but still, like this Maiden is like when it dies, he returns the Angelo, and it's bad for him. And actually, Infinix has Genesis Avatar in his deck. It's a card when it dies, it dusts himself and it returns top highest cost that cards of each element to deck. So it's also very, very nice late condition. I guess looking at these decks, I guess Infinix have a better, let's say, late game potential than Zato. So Zato should be like really pressuring and trying to kill Chimera. Of course, he doesn't know that, but let's say like it's the best condition looking at both hands and knowing the both decks.
Yeah, and also looking at Zato's deck, I'm seeing from his perspective that his deck is running low on late game solutions. Like his top mana cards at the moment are Chainstorm, Mind Control, and there goes a mistake. Genesis Avatar.
This is the card I was talking about. Yeah. He played Twist and Turn on Luna, expecting to draw someone weaker, but yeah, here is Genesis Avatar. Actually, it has Frostbite, so it dies right now, so it's like doesn't look like a very big deal.
Yeah, it's fine.
But still, like this. Yeah, and now he has like his card back, and they're cheaper, so he'll have more tempo. So, for example, he already have Inspirator for 0 mana, and he will be able to restore this tempo, get back on board from Infinix side. And as I can see, that also have like some card draw. Yes, he has his Windweave. He have Nature Grabs to stop the aggression from the side of Infinix. So I guess it's still pretty much even.
Yeah, especially since Genesis Avatar proc this death effect, and now it's going to be much easier for Infinix to develop stuff, be it aggressive solutions or reactive solutions. He's pretty good now, and as I said, it's not going really well for Zato's deck. It's a better deck for containing aggression, I would say, not as much to win the value game in the late game against the Lotus.
Yeah, and Phoenix, this time we're talking, he's doing Miracle Turn, like where he's playing cards on Arcadium Mask and like Mulligan in hands. There's so many options here. And it's very good combo with Inspirator. So in Inspirator, after you play an ally, you need attachment, give it +1/+1. So this mask will grow, and this mask will be like very hard to remove. We don't see direct removal from Zato hands. So, and this card is very powerful. It could win on its own. Like it's basically infinite generator of cards. Just play what's good. And yeah, it's so far it's looking very bad for Zato. He needs to find a way to get out of this.
And probably you will not.
Situation.
Like let's be honest. This deck is only reactive solutions that deal really well with lower cost units. As I said, he has Mind Control, he has Chainstorm ready, he has Bewitching Brew, and that's pretty much it. Like he doesn't have many engines to get on the aggressive side of the board, and he's probably gonna be destroyed by Infernix's army of units that not only generate value but are also beating down on Zato's HPs.
Yeah, for sure. And like you see that like you see the Zato deck. Yes, is there some kind of big removal from his side?
Not at all. Like I'm taking a look at it. It's just pretty much Evermore to return your top 2 dead units. It's Bewitching Brew to attach hacks to target unit, but I wouldn't call that necessarily a removal because Infernix can pay the cost and remove hacks. So yeah, he's pretty much done. His late game is right now over. He only has Prismata, but he doesn't have light units to proc it on. So it's pretty much over.
Yeah, it's looking sad, and like he would need himself this Doomsday that is in Infernix deck right now. Doomsday like it destroys all units, but does your left and right most card in hand. So basically, for 6 mana, you are getting rid of some of your cards, but you could get like you could clear very big board, get lots of tempo, and yeah, he just decided to skip. Yes.
Yep. He's considering probably. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think he skipped and...
Yeah, I must have instantly skipped. That's weird.
I mean, it kind of like makes sense a little bit. Maybe he's just like, it's game is over.
Yeah, probably just conceded. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, no, he just left the turn so that Infernix can resume the aggression. But yeah, he pretty much conceded the game.
Okay. It was very interesting. It was very interesting first match to see because yeah, it's like it was not in Infernix side from first, and now it's.
Yep, it's
he managed to win this.
It's been a really good comeback. Like I think one of the turning points was when Zato was developing a lot of boards. The Nature Grasp from Infernix slowed down the tempo and allowed him to be like really. Brave with the aggression. Like the Grasping Maiden, as you said, on Angelo, could have been really bad if Zato was able to regain Angelo really fast and play Second Chance, the attachment on Angelo, but the Grasping Maiden is still there, and it managed to be a lot of like an unexpectedly aggressive game on Infernix standpoint. As we said, it looked like the deck from Infernix was not able to recover from position where Zato was ahead because it only had creatures and really slow ways to regain the control of the board. But I mean, Infernix just had to wait until Zato finished these offensive options, and at a certain point, it was the time for Infernix to develop his own creatures and start the aggression. As you said, he's going to finish the game with 28 HPs while Zato is KO'd. So very nice game. We got a really nice taste of how value-based a Lotus deck can be.
Yeah, it's very nice, and a very nice ending, like this miracle turn where like he just shuffled, played all these spells. It's very nice, and also getting buffed on the way. It's very nice.
So, Carto, I'm gonna have a quick communication. We actually started broadcasting these semifinals on a 1-0 score for Zato. So we're actually 1-1 tied now, and we're gonna have the final match of these first semifinals.
Yeah, that's great. That we can see that there is competition. Guys are trying to win as much as possible. And also, I see in the community gaming bracket that Infernix from Esports Organization, they're also making lots of Skyweaver tournaments. So yeah, it's quite let's say interesting names in our final.
Yeah, I saw some familiar names actually back from the Hearthstone days. Like one of that you probably recognize is Somi Tequila, who used to be a Greek pro player, and I'm glad to see him actually being involved with Skyweaver. Like I'm really excited. This could definitely be like the start of something bigger, like regular Skyweaver tournaments here on Community Gaming and Metaguild, of course, in partnership with Horizon, that have been really kind to support us in the creation of these tournaments. And I think we can stick with Infernix point of view, since the director is asking me to. And yeah, it's I mean, I can swap and like kind of tell you guys how Zato is doing from his perspective, but we can stick with the Infernix perspective.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah. It's very nice. I remember like how much time we spent in Hearthstone, like looking at only one player hand. Yes, like we didn't
yeah,
have functional to do it. Like it's actually like it's okay to follow one player's perspective, because you can like it's better to show the story of this one
yeah, I
player.
agree.
Yeah, it's sometimes the knowledge of opponent hands can kill all the like let's say all the interesting stuff, all the excitement from the game.
As from what I'm seeing, actually, of course, there's a delay. There's a 10-minute delay so that the players cannot see each other's hands. And from what I can see from the broadcast on Metaguild Twitch channel, everything is fine for our viewers. So our director is managing to have both hands displayed at the same time. So that's
Okay.
really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just for us. We are lucky that we have this blinking bug where we cannot see both perspective at once, but we can, like with the TV, we can change channel and go take a look at Zato's end and then go back to Infernix. It's not going to be an issue. So the game is about to start. We actually have our players on their last hero possible. So I guess Zato will have to play the Hearth Wisdom hybrid again, while Infernix won with Lotus, so he doesn't have the Wisdom only Prism available. I'm really curious to see. I think that a player that wants to play Lotus, like pure Lotus, pure Wisdom, probably has another control Prism in his lineup.
I mean, I actually I have no idea. It's for if I would build this, yeah, I would focus. I would do the same. Like I would, let's say, bring 2 control decks or even 3 control decks, not decks but heroes, prisms, and focus. Let's say, because I feel right now control cards are very powerful, and even in this kind of format as discovery, like removal is very, very important.
Yeah.
Like you just trade these cards like 1 for 5, 4.
I agree.
And it's very, very good win condition just in removals, and they're very strong. So yeah, I think I would be focused on for sure on this on Axel, on Bonjo. Yeah, if I pronounce it correctly, like heroes like this. But
yeah.
Still, strength and agility prisms are actually like has very powerful cards, but they have also lots of nerf cards that are not really good anymore. Right now in constructed, I would say like strength and agility is very, very like good combination, but they play very, very specific archetypes like metal. Let's say metal. Axel, I guess. No, not Axel, but like Fox.
Yeah, the hybrid between strength and agility.
Yeah. So, and the control decks, of course, also very strong, but they rely like more on specific removals, similar to Discovery. So yeah, I guess it's not a coincidence that we see more control-ish archetypes right now in semifinals, and I guess we'll see similar situation in the finals. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm glad to be wrong and to maybe like change my perspective if if people who play in the finals think the opposite way.
Yeah, I remember that back when I started, for example, Full Intellect, so Ari was one of the heroes that I liked the least. It was really inconsistent for me. You really had to draw the right cards for the early game and then pray for something to happen to reset the board and finally have your late game conditions, because Intellect is a lot about cycling cards, engines, really weird win conditions. So it ended up being a good supportive hero. So you see a lot of hybrids, like you said, Banjo, for example, Wisdom mixed together with Intellect. I remember a lot of people playing Agility and Intellect together. So you almost had this tempo, really explosive deck with some good combos for the late game. And I'm really curious to see what it brings to the table. And it's going to be, of course, Zato on Axel yet again. But Infernix, as a second hero, is bringing Titus. So strength plus wisdom. That's a really weird one. Honestly, in my discovery experience, not many players liked Titus.
Yeah, but like it's he very much relies on very powerful late game cards, very powerful like big drops, let's say.
Yeah.
And there are some new cards that support this archetype, and we'll see like if he get lucky with his deck and he gets some kind of like, I don't know, a little bit of ramp, little bit of these big units, they could be enough to finish the game. So
Yeah.
he will be more aggressive from this side.
I get it. Yeah, on paper, like being able to not only control the board for the early and mid game, but also have huge units for the late game sounds really good. But of course, in Discovery, you have to think that your deck is randomized every time. So you might end up having just early to mid game units and late game removals, for example. So if you get against an aggro deck, you can do anything about it. So you always have to keep in mind that your deck really changes a lot. So first thing I'm gonna do is, from Zato's perspective, take a look at his deck. A good habit for any Discovery player is when the game starts to check your deck. It sounds really stupid, but back when I started, I didn't even think about it. And I know many players that didn't even know how to check their own deck. So I can already tell you, Kartova, that Zato has a pretty good late game deck. He has Second Chance. He has a Warlock that does a really good removal. He has Bardrock to buff his own board and snowball the late game, and he has Kameth as a removal, AoE removal, because Kameth comes attached with the Kas Wrath, which does 3 damage to enemies. So yeah, sort of a mid-game centric deck with some late-game win conditions, I would say, for Zato.
And from Infernic side, I can say that he actually rolled a quite controlish version of his deck. So he has very good early tempo, and he actually have like very good late game removal touch the sky. It got nerfed, so now it doesn't restore your health. But so if you're like, if you have more than 16 health, you go to 16. But if you have less, then you stay like this. So it's still very big, very good removal, and he has a time at rage, which is a very good competitive card. It's like 6 damage to target enemy and each enemy next to it. Wow. It plays in every aggressive mid-range archetype currently. So yeah, his deck looks quite aggressive, but he has strong removals. So I guess Zato will be on defensive side in this game. And actually, and already Infernix managed to pull the Frost Adept and Sunset and attach Frostbite to Zato hero. I don't know if he has an answer, but if he doesn't, he's in very big trouble.
Yeah, like the explosive start from Infernix was really hard to deal with, but I can already tell you that Zato could have a solution in Shield Bash, which could increment the health of these small Gus and bring his attack to the same value. So it's going to be a 3/3 with a shield attached on it, and it's going to be able to hit the Frost Adept at least for one turn. But yeah, he's going to play it right away. It's not going to be that good of a turn anyway. I mean, it's still going to be able to preemptively trade the Frost Adept, but yeah, that unit is going to survive. So he just goes for Bad Dreams to take a look at the opponent's hand. So we're pretty much playing with both players' perspective for now. And that's going to be it. That's not the best turn that Zato could wish for on turn 4. He's still chasing the board.
He takes 3 from Adept just to take damage to it. So yeah. But from the Infernix side, there is a very big 3 mana 4/5 Sabertooth. But I guess he'll play just he has 4 mana. He'll play 4 mana.
Beetle.
Yeah, it probably will be Beetle, even though it's 2/3. I mean, actually, this 2/3 Beetle is quite disappointing.
Yes, it is, but it's the right way to have Sunset Frost Adept proc. So you still go for it. And I mean, if you're Infernix, you have to think for the late game, and your opponent is already struggling, is committing a lot of cards, a lot of resources just to stay alive against your Frost Adept. I guess you can be happy with it.
Yeah, for sure. And Yeah, I guess very very interesting also combination. Infinix has a fortune seller that can mulligan all but your lowest cost card in hand, so he can like reroll his hand if he doesn't feel like it's good for him right now. But still, his cards looking pretty good. He can dust even some cards if they have very strong disrattle. So yeah, so far looking pretty even, I would
Yeah,
say.
agreed. Actually, not many options here from Zato. He's pretty much playing how many cards he can. Like, it's kind of a desperate attempt to finally get rid of the Frost Adept, but you have to think that he spent his whole turn just removing a card that was played a turn before. So it's quite a long grind here for Zato to finally be in the lead of this game and not just chasing Titus board development. So
And,
Infinix board development.
and in terms of card advantage, Infernix have 7 cards and Data will have like 4, so
Yeah,
he has a very very strong card advantage on each side. And he actually decides to like he doesn't have a way to spend all his mana, so he leaves 2. He decides to not play his shield bash.
that's not great, but I mean, I guess it's just the only option that he has.
I mean, he could have played Fortune Seller and like reroll his hand, yes.
Oh,
But
okay.
still, like he probably wants the first plays is good. It means he considers his hand good, so he doesn't want to reroll it. He has like very good scroll keeper with card sling combination, and I don't know, maybe like he'll need silence at some point. Burn to a Crisp actually right now plays in many constructed decks just because some death effects are very very strong.
And he
I'm sorry.
goes for Cometh. Wow, that's a really brave play because chances are that he's gonna lose the cast rat attached to it because it's gonna be 2 turns before he can play it. But yeah, Zato is just desperate for some board development, so he's just gonna
But
do
it's so
that.
strong effect on board. Like it's turn 6 and it's a 3-12 and
Well, that's
Infernix
true.
doesn't
That's
have a
true.
removal. So it's like it's very strong. And sometimes you play this card like without let's say aim to play Kazrat. It's just cheaper
Right,
and have a
right.
very nice stat line. But we can see that Infernix
He also
found
rolled like he was able to like position the cap in the Kameth in a way that got the Charmling that battle. So it's even a 3-12 now.
yeah.
It's really tough to remove that.
Yeah, but this 8/8 with Divine Shield is where it will be very with just a shield. It will be very hard to remove for
Agreed.
that.
Agreed. And I can tell you from Zato's end, there's not many solutions. He's gonna go with the Frost Adept plus attachment. The other option that he had was a Sick Burn. So he had to discard the Frost Adept to deal 3 damage to a unit and draw a fire spell. I definitely agree with the Frost Adept development. It's gonna hurt a little bit on Kamet, but at least he got almost a full board clear while also activating the Frost Adept Sunset to have Frostbite on the hero and the 2 units on board. So I guess he's doing fine. He might even be able to survive to the point that he plays Chaos Wrath. But you tell me, you see Infinix end.
No. This card will be probably removed. Like he has multiple ways to remove it, and like he will not allow this this Kazaras to be played. So we'll just see how he can handle it. And he has also interesting. He has Orchid in hand. So, but he decides to mulligan his hand, and he got pretty nice options. He got Sky Phoenix, but he's still missing with air and fire elements. So this Sky Phoenix will not be able to return, and it's very sad. But of course, Eradicate very strong on a Frost Adept. Like this two mana card that removes 6 mana cards. You love to see this. And yeah, he still has a way to remove the card rust by using Burn to a Crisp, and
There
he
it
has
goes.
also very strong play. He can play Wait Die, just 6 times +1/+1 armor guard to randomly. He'll probably have someone stick to the board. Probably this score keeper will survive. If not, he still have other option. Yeah, he has still Sky Phoenix in hand, and now he has all he has all 8 elements. Can you imagine it? So his
Oh,
Sky Phoenix
nice.
actually will revive if
Nice.
Zato doesn't have a way to dust it.
That's very good. And by the way, that burn to a crisp was really clutch because Zato has the Phoenix Plume in his hand. So he would be able to regain the Kameth, but it's now dusted. So he's not going to be able to resurrect it and have it in his hand. So Infernix is going through a very good late game with the Sky Phoenix and all the elements in the graveyard. So he can resummon it. And he just denied the only possibility for Zato to have a decent late game of his own with the second coming of Kameth. Really good looking for Infernix right now.
Yeah, and but there is a silence, so silence blocks that effect on Sky Phoenix.
Yep.
Even he shares this emote. That is unexpected. But if he don't have a way to remove the Sky Phoenix this turn,
That's the issue.
he has a wind sword to remove the silence. So we'll see. Like
He's just gonna go with the Seek Burn, and yeah, he's gonna be able to remove it. He just has to apply the silence from Cloud Kit, and then just use Soul Guide and his face to clear it.
Yeah, but still, Infernix have a very nice follow-up with Nico and Wade Die. I already can expect it will be very, very clunky minion. It's very hard to kill it. Like, I don't know, Zata, does Zata have like very strong single target removal?
No,
right
sir. No, sir. He only, at the moment, he has Vishiva to gain some traction on the board with Royal Mummies. He has the Phoenix Plume still, and he's probably going to use it for Soul Guide. There he goes. And just Boon of Nettles to try and slow the enemy down. But yeah, it's not looking good at all.
And the 0 mana draw from Phoenix side, he drew Sky Channel. It's
wow.
Very nice.
Well, that's one of the 0 mana draws I want to see in late game, definitely.
Yes, for sure. And this Nico will be huge and probably will be his win condition. Looking at his head, he has only one minion and right now four spells left, 7-10 with an armor, and he can't dust it. So it's with lit attached. It's very hard to remove this kind of minion.
It's gonna be a grindy late game, but definitely a one that looks promising. Oh, that's a good proc on Cleo, that effect. Just got cycled from Wartlock, and I guess that Wartlock is gonna eat for 7 damage.
6 because of armor, so but it's with withers, so it removes all the attack, and it is very the most important thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
But from a Phoenix side,
yeah, you can also that's a good play. You can also just sacrifice the Cloud Kit to have 1 extra damage, and so he's able to just bring Nico's attack to 0, and none of the creatures that Zato has will be receiving damage, and also it was a wither damage, so if I remember correctly. Wasn't there a wither buff on Nico attack? I think so. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but it's no problem because now his attack is 0, so it's not gonna be able to reduce enemy's attack anyway.
Yeah, there was no wither, but
there was no wither. My bad.
Yeah, but still, like he has a way to buff it. It's very interesting. Like it's a very close game, even though like Infernix has drew many cards, but his cards were like lower values than Zato's, and it's very going to the late game right now.
I can tell you there's no many win conditions from Zato's part now. He just drew Nomad, so the 3/4 summon, draw a lifesteal card, and the Vishiva I was talking about, and the Soul Guide that it's revealed to Infernix because it was resurrected with the Phoenix Plume. And so yeah, it doesn't look like a really promising late game for Zato, but I don't know, maybe Infernix finally got a clunky hand. No, he doesn't. Nice touch the sky there. Very nice.
8 HP burned, but he removed the board, and he still has time at rage in hand. So it's like very big removal, and like if that like let's say have 3 big minions right now, he can kill all of them with time at rage. So
nice.
It's probably gonna be Infernix game in the end. But look, here is a barrier. Actually, this barrier on if he uses no, he needs 1 more minion to use it. Because he wants to have a barrier on his hero, but actually he doesn't know about Tiamat Rage. So, okay, he has shield on his hero.
Yeah.
And he will destroy the Taxation in order to draw some cards.
Oh, we got second chance, which he can play on curve, but it's not gonna be very good to resurrect your tactician as a 4/4. So he definitely needs something more to just bring to life with that second chance. He's probably gonna just play the Death's Knight that he has in his hand for mana 3/5. We're gonna have to see.
Okay, okay. But by the way, Volket, have you got this message that like we should not receive, we should be very careful with discussing players.
You're really well. There's a 10 minutes delay, but
Yeah, but still, like if something in the deck, we should be careful
I
with that.
guess that 10 minutes is really close call because it's a control matchup. You're right. So yeah, it's really tough in this position to just bring you commentary when the game goes so long, even though we took the right precautions and just we just kept in mind, that 10 minutes should be enough. Usually in Discovery, these two guys are bringing very late game oriented decks, so the 10 minutes could not be enough. But I'm pretty comfortable that 10 minutes is gonna be fine.
Look what's happened. Zato was losing this game so much, and now he just returned with
Yeah.
one single Bard Rock, and he stole
That's just
Fuji.
that's just intellect things. Even Art is really good to resurrecting stuff, and he suddenly have a good chance to win it.
The only thing I would like discuss is like buffing not the health of a character, but by hero, but maybe buffing Bard Rock. But yeah, it's very close. It's very close to the end, so probably makes sense.
Yeah, you don't want to die to some weird bypass guard and free attack. I know it's really tough, but I understand Zato point.
I think it's over. I think it's over for Infernix. I don't see a way how he can clear like 2 minions, but that's it. He lifesteal 1. It's very close, but yeah, he survives. He survives. Okay.
And it should be over then. Yeah,
it's a very, very close game.
There's a self-destruct coming from Zato, so he's just able to get 3 damage and finish it off. Nice series. I'm so sad that we couldn't see first game because these two guys brought very interesting lineups, very control-oriented, very grindy matchups so far between the Wisdom decks coming from Infernix. And in the end, it's Zato who managed to win. The guy that got the 1-1. Really glad that I got back to Skyweaver in such fashion. I mean, this series reminded me of the beauty of Discovery and how much grindy the games can be, how many resources you have to go through, and how the power level ends up being really low because you don't get to build your own deck. You have to be able to navigate your archetype and kind of predict what your opponent could have that represents a threat to your game plan. So yeah, really exciting stuff. I love this.
I would say these games are like, let's say, a little bit more competitive because like you have to like have so much information about possibilities, like what cards are there. You have to like know perfectly, let's say, all these different cards, like especially when it comes to generating, for example, like in constructed, like the opponent decks, they're quite similar. You don't expect like that much. You don't need that much knowledge, let's say, then in Discovery. By the way, our games looks like we have links.
Oh, nice. We're ready for the game. And I'm just going to mention that Puppeteer is the guy who knocked out one of the most relevant streamers for Discovery out there, which is Feed Me Burgers, really known streamer, really good player. And Puppeteer is the guy that knocked him out of the tournament. So I expect a lot from him. And as for Kerancross, some of the guys in the chat asked me if I have any memory of these nicknames. And I'm going to say that when you are streaming, you tend to change your nickname a lot. So probably these guys stream or are competitive players and might be changing their nickname from the in-game one, since you can do it for free. I used to do that all the time, but definitely Kerancross is a name that I think I encountered before. And yeah, same goes for, of course, Feed Me Burgers. He's a guy consistently played Feed Me Burgers for the golden card matchup, lost many times, won many times, but you know, not all players keep the same name in game.
Okay, it seems like the game has started.
Yeah.
So we're ready to see. We already see an Axel and Ari. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm watching from the perspective of Puppeteer, since he was the guy that knocked out Feed Me Burgers. I'm pretty curious to see how he does. And yeah, we're gonna have Axel again up against, oh, that's an archetype I don't see very often, but I remember getting so mad when people played it against me because he always seemed to find a solution to be aggressive, and that's May, the agility intellect hybrid. I used to think that was a really tempo-based deck, and it definitely is a tempo-based archetype, but I didn't believe it could be really consistent because, as I said, agility and intellect not only have really a good board, really good pace, really good aggression, but tend to have also some combo cards. And so it was really risky from my point of view to bring intellect together with agility. You tend to have not so much aggression and end up playing the late game against decks that you don't want to play late game against. But hey, I guess I was wrong because a lot of people are still playing May months after my last Skyweaver game.
Yeah, and May actually was very, very strong recently in Constructed because
yes, that I know.
she got like very strong new cards, and now they got nerfed, so like she's not as strong anymore as she used to be. But yeah, we'll see what she can do. And very nice track from Puppeteer, this Show Siren. Sadly it's dead, but it could have grown a lot on turn one. It's very strong play.
Yeah, as I said many times, Axel really isn't the type of archetype that instantly secures board control. He has a good mix of menace in late game and reactive solutions given him by the Wisdom Prism. But when he manages to have some sort of cards to occupy the board with in the early to mid game, then it's really good for his late game because he can not only play the reactive solutions, as I said, the wisdom part, but also resurrect stuff and get the control of the board back with the hearth cards. So this already looks like a very decent start for Puppeteer, but must say, even Caro Lobo in-game, so the May player is getting a huge Sorn Oni right now.
Yeah, it is huge, and like Puppeteer doesn't have a way to answer it. Like he just looks at it, and yeah, he has very Octavian 8 mana card in hand. Sport Blast doesn't do damage through armor. This armor is actually very making big problems for Puppeteer. And because Sworn Ori were able to attack the hero and draw 2 cards from it, also Carlobo doesn't have a problem with cards anymore. Before, like, he was quite low, like he had only 3. Now he'll have like 5, 6. So it's very nice from his side. I'm already starting looking like what kind of draw he could get, Puppeteer.
It's really tough already, to be honest. Yeah, it has to hide behind these grubs, which is not threatening at all for that Sornoni. I'm looking at Doomsday at this point. Like, he has Doomsday, he has Fireball costs 8. It's gonna take a little longer before he can actually play that Fireball on top of the Sornoni. So yeah, pretty much one solution to this huge Sornoni from a Puppeteer perspective, and it seems like the May player keeps getting some traction on the board, keeps getting some threats down, and now it's the time for Rytius to go down the board. Shroud played upon him, so he has now a 4/5 Wither together with the 6/4 armored Sornoni. Looks like a really good mid game for the May player.
It looks like this game could be end very fast from my perspective.
For the first time this evening, yes, it looks like it.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many games are like this in Discovery. Actually, like, well, it's used to be even you're playing aggressive. Like, yeah, when some card just get out of control and you can do nothing with it.
Yeah.
It is sometimes like
that's why I like to play strength and agility. even separate, but also sometimes together. I used to play rarely some Fox in my streamed runs on Conquest. And yeah, the reason why you want to play those is because in the long run, you're going to have some of those games. And some games, your opponent can't really do anything to it. And I guess this could be one of them, because Puppeteer just drew Guru, which is not going to do him any good. He has Glacial Tomb, which is useless. Spore Blast, which is fairly useless. And yeah, nothing else. So he's facing lethal damage and has no cards to defend himself with. No guards, no actual answers. The Spore Blast is going to deal 1 damage to the Righteous and to the Lily, because the other cards have armor. So it's 6 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 from the face is going to be 12 damage. And yeah, it could definitely be some lethal.
Don't forget that Hoplite returns to hand.
Right, of course. Of course.
So yeah,
rookie mistake from me.
But it's still not looking good. Like he's trying to lifesteal, buff this Doomshroom maybe to kind of like have maybe a chance next turn.
And that's really nice development too. Like you get to play Orchid and develop a 5/5 barrier stealth Nakamoto. Like you don't get any solution from that. Of course, there's the Doomshroom, but we now know that that's not gonna be enough to protect Puppeteer, because he drew as a second card a Forest Heart, which is way too slow. It's an engine to get back cards with the Unfollow, so no solution to this board from Puppeteer. 1-0 for Carolobo, or as written in the bracket, Keran Cross. Really good game, really aggressive stuff.
Really good game, but it's funny to see my winning without like any, let's say, recent card. It's just use the standard card, like the first cards, very, very good Ori, and that's enough. That's enough.
You have to think like it's really low chance that May can get such a start though. And at the same time, not only he gets one of the best possible mid-range start with May, but he also got a very good Axel deck against. I mean, good for him, not so much for Puppeteer, because Puppeteer had really slow pace. Like probably Puppeteer deck would do really well against Lotus, against Wisdom or Intellect in general, but it wasn't a good deck to counter aggression. So poor Puppeteer, not so lucky with this Axel deck. Definitely on the luckier side, the Carolobos deck. And now we're gonna have another archetype I'm not really a fan of, but I used to see more and more in my Conquest golden card matches, so I guess players were onto something with Mira, which is an intellect plus strength hybrid. I guess that the best definition to Mira is like Edda, which is pure strength on steroid, because you also get some weird buffs with some weird win conditions where you can transform your engines in very beefy cards to also beat down the opponent, and you also have some reactive cards in case you don't have that explosive Ada early game, strength early game.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting pick from Carolobo, because Miro right now like is kind of like a hero that is outside of meta of what's going on, and it's probably, I don't know about its discovery stats, but for me it looks like a very interesting pick. So it's either this guy knows something more than other people who are playing, let's say like Axel, I see is very common, like control archetypes. This combination of strength and intelligence is very interesting to see how it will perform. And I can already tell that Puppeteer has a way better hand than the previous hand. He has already many options and he is thinking what to do. He can, for example, play Homebrew and scourge his Earwig straightforward. He's just soul draining it. Maybe just waiting and not killing this Earwig for some time, just to deny this fate, the death effect on Earwig could be a good option. Would you actually leave this Earwig 0-1 on board, or try to kill it if you have an opportunity? Like he doesn't have it right now, but he will have in the future, obviously.
Oh, by the way, I got a communication from the admins, and they said that Puppeteer, just like the previous series, we actually started watching the series with a game already in the records. So it was Puppeteer getting the 1-0 lead. So we just witnessed Carolobo or Kerancross getting the 1-1 tied series. So now it's the final match of this series, actually.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Like that means we'll be able to go faster to finals
Yeah, I guess so. Absolutely.
And we still see the most interesting part of the series, right? When it's the first game, like the second, the third one are the most interesting.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see some action in this third one. Like the two archetypes are really promising for a good grindy matchup, but not as passive as the Lotus versus Axel one. We can definitely expect some board development and some really explosive plays around 7, 8, 9 mana from Mira. And if Puppeteer with his Axel is going to be able to keep up the pace and to be plenty of options for late game, he could be able to like react to those threats and to like play the control game. So it's really weird matchup. I was expecting more aggression from Mira, but I guess he just didn't draw any of those type of cards to play like Ada, to just beat down your opponent. And so this could ended up being a very control-ish late mid-range type of play style.
And of course, it's good for Axel. Axel loves this kind of games. So, and by the way, this Spiderella in the hand of Puppeteer, it's buffed, so it's 3 mana, 3/5. And it's actually very interesting glory effect. It attached dazed to the opponent's hero, so you want to play it on an empty board, but you also want to use this insomnia when you have an opportunity. So, and he decides to not use it on 0/1, but it will be probably not be used in this game, because usually either his opponent should play a card with dash and not kill its unit, because just stay one turn on the board is not that easy.
If it was me playing Axel right now, I would be scared about the fact that I'm not having many solutions. Hopefully Book Casey is gonna cycle into 2 cookbooks that are gonna give some options. Unlucky, this mind control doesn't really help Puppeteer in any way. I guess you just Book Casey here and see what you draw, because you need some more card cycling. You need some options going into the late game.
And I already see that like he has 2 1-mana spells. It's Insomnia and Tireless Iteration. So, oh no, he decides to steal the Earwig. Of course, like he returns stats. So he just will give Homebrew and how you pronounce Menglong, Menglong the Fate effect.
I guess, yeah. I was a bit worried about Earwig dropping the Fate on Menglong card. Huge fan of Menglong being able to instantly attack thanks to the Dreamgate, I believe it is, to ready the target Sleeping Alien unit and then to draw your lowest cost spell. But yeah, I guess that Fate is still some sort of card draw, and at least you get to play Book Casey when you can also play one of the cards that Cookbook is going to have attached to it.
And it's very nice Cloud Sloth top deck, so like it's very nice 6 mana. You can just jam it and discard your hand, not discard, but give cards in your hand -1 cost, which is
discount
very nice.
The cards. That was the word you were trying to grasp. Yeah, definitely not the biggest hand to have discount on, but still, you're at least discounting your Menglong for the future. You're making your Homebrew really easy to just cycle through. So I guess it's fine.
Yeah, but this Menglong doesn't look like very good. It's just it's good when it's like 3-4 mana, but when it's 8, you don't really want to play it, to be honest. So we'll see. Probably like he wants to play first Book Casey, try to I don't know, wait for. Actually, I think it's nice play right now. Or he like the reason why he's not playing Book Casey could be that he knows that he can play this Insomnia. So for example, if this Tusk30 will stay one more board, that he can probably Insomniate. So it's very nice consideration from his side.
Yeah, he's waiting for Insomnia. He could be also waiting for Tireless Iteration to actually have something to play it upon. So yeah, I guess that long-term Book Casey has some higher value to express if he can already use one of the cookbooks Insomnia. So yeah, it's just gonna go for Menglong, although it's just 6/6 with Fate, Guard, and Banner. It's still a pretty tough spot, especially because that Tooth Earthy can become something really, really scary Oh, nice Sunder there to just hit the Menglong for 5 and then finish it off with the face. Good turn by Caroncross. He gets to clear the Sloth thanks to a good roll, a good randomized roll on the Tooth Hearthy, and now he's once again playing from an advantage position.
Yeah, and it's good for turn for Bookcase already. He top decked the second one because the spell is Tireless Iteration, so second one will be randomized. And you probably don't expect to play Desire on while your deck is empty, so it will be probably the second play.
It's a very nice
still,
Insomnia.
Yeah, it's very nice Insomnia. He will. Is it? He's able to kill with Identity Crisis. Yes. No.
Well, he could.
Doesn't
he have? Oh, actually, he's missing 1 damage. Oh yeah. He's gonna miss 1 damage. Okay, you can just. Okay. Oh no. You're right. Identity Crisis goes for -2. Yeah, I'm totally tripping here. Yeah, it definitely is a composite play, but it's still super good. You need to get rid of that Tooth Hearthy, and Identity plus Insomnia is gonna do the trick.
Yeah, and right now, he can skip or he can crystal out Homebrew because it's attached phase, so he'll have more options next turn. But also, you don't want to give options to your opponent. He's still doing it anyway, top decking it, and he just need to focus on his own turn. And it seems like his hand actually is going. It's very strong. It's very strong for Karoloba because hand of Puppeteer will be very small now, but he has tempo. He'll try to kill. In this game, he's just trying to kill Karoloba, and we'll see if Karoloba has an answer for this board. It's quite strong one, but Puppeteer, otherwise, he will not have much anymore. He has big cards in his deck, but only 1 card in deck in the hand.
Yeah. And even his best draws don't do really anything. It's really tough for him to finish off the opponent. It's not really one of the best thing that Axel does to finish off low HP opponents. He always goes for board control. That's a good soul taunt. He's not gonna have it for the lethal damage here. Puppeteer drews into Mushroom, and Charming is the other card that he's got. He's gonna be able to hit for 3 and to develop some more board thanks to Mushroom, as I said. And it's gonna bring Karolobo or Caroncross to 3 HP, but whoa, Dracomantium is gonna be able to shield with his body, with the guard effect and the lifesteal, and there's not gonna be any burst damage directly to play against Karolobo from Axel hand. He's gonna have to use his whole board.
Only 1 metal card died from Karolobo's side, so his hero will not be given metal and armor. Oh, but I'm pretty sure there is little. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, with the fungi dying and buffing the whole board, it definitely is lethal. 4 + 3 + 1 dash from the Gleesbot. You have 2 from the face and 2 more from the Charmling. It is lethal. I don't know if here Puppeteer is miscounting, but even if he miscounts, he's gonna realize a certain point that he does have lethal, and the Dracomantium does not provide armor to the hero. So it's gonna be Puppeteer advancing to the finals.
Congratulations, Puppeteer. Yeah, it's very nice tempo. Axel, yes, we expected a little bit different scenario where Mirror will be attacking Axel.
He had to desperate attempt to win despite him having so fewer options compared to his opponent. The Mira hand was plenty of options, but yeah, as you said, Mira didn't have the tempo, didn't have the time to develop the threats. So it was in the end Axel playing the tempo playstyle and being the aggressor.
Okay. So yeah, while we'll be waiting for the final game, will be next game will be final.
It's gonna be best of 5.
Okay. Best of 5. So I want to first of all, I want to ask you for a long time already. Have you seen the recent changes that happened with Conquest format in the Skyweaver?
Yeah, you mean the chests and the chance to go through points to boost your chest. So yeah, I remember back when I played, it was just 1 win, you get your silver card back and you can pay for another run. 2 wins, you get 2 silvers. 3 wins, you get a silver and a golden card, which was really prestigious and held some monetary value also. But if I understand correctly, please stop me if I'm wrong. Right now, you can get points that go towards a chest if your decks have silver and or golden cards. So even just participating in Conquest gives you some of those points, and in the end, they're gonna give you a chest with some silvers and golds inside.
No,
right?
The chest actually, like, yeah, the level of chest, and you have, like, let's say, the whole treasury, the weekly treasury, and money from the tickets goes to this treasury. And let's say, like, if you finish with like high level of the chest, you'll get USDC in reward. So it depends how many people play the Conquest. So right now, like, the maximum reward, I think it's around like from $50 to $100, depending on the week. But still, it's very nice. The most interesting for me is switch from discovery mode to competitive as a Conquest. So basically, some people are, let's say, happy with this change. Some people are not happy, and I am interested, like, how you perceive it, because I just first want to hear your opinion, and then I will share mine.
Well, what do you mean with competitive? Like the
constructed, I mean, constructed and discovery. So before, Conquest mode was, let's say, for both regimes, and now it's only for constructed. So with this treasury, treasury works only with constructed.
Yeah, that's definitely an incentive for people to own cards and play with decks. But I feel like discovery, I mean, it's for me what brought me to Skyweaver in the first place. So I see actually a lot of competitive value in being able to maneuver a deck that you just see before your eyes, and you kind of have to predict what your opponent's gonna have. So I honestly see it in the long run that discovery could even be a harder format to master in competitive play. So I didn't even know that actually the chest was only able to upgrade with constructed games. And as a discovery player, I definitely hope for them to also include the discovery.
I was a little bit disappointed because I'm actually very, very fan of this change, because recently, like, before this change, I actually didn't see much reason to play this constructed regime. Like, when you were able to just play this discovery on these chests, and like, it was just felt a little bit like unnecessary. And after this change, I actually start playing constructed, and I enjoy it a lot. So it's like, it's really something. It brings this competition, brings this let's say, deck building aspect that I missed. It's more, let's say, tournament interesting mode, because it's like, people can create decks, they can use their imagination, they can counter this meta. So this actually random aspect in discovery that good from one side, not that good from other side. This is no more an issue. So I actually very big fan of this change, and I expect competitive, let's say, scene of Skyweaver being constructed focused grow with these changes. And I love this a lot, and I love playing this this treasury chest challenge Conquest. And also they announced recently a big tournament that the top 16 of previous and this seasons will be from Conquest and from constructed leaderboards. They will be advanced to a tournament with $2,000. I guess it's prize pool, if I remember correctly.
Very nice.
So it's very, very nice. It brings more attention of competitive players. So they're aiming for these high ranks. And of course, this aspect of farming, let's say, playing Conquest, farming this chest, it's very actually hard to get this 10 level chest. You need to play, like, I don't know, I would say 4 or 5 hours a day to get it for a week.
We used to do it for way less back in the Hearthstone days. So I guess it's a good return still of your time. By the way, Kartoa, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I actually arranged with our admins and our director a 10-minute break so we can rest our voice a little bit, drink some water. So if the director tells me we're good to go on a 10-minute break, I would do so very happily. And so, yeah, guys, we're going to see you in 10 minutes with the finals, which is going to be best of 5. See you in 10 minutes.
See you guys.
Two up until the finals. It was best of 3. So for Puppeteer, it's gonna be Horik and Axel, and we saw them both, I believe. And no, actually, we saw 2 games of Axel from his side because we started the series on the 1-0 score. And the third hero is gonna be Banjo. For Zeto, it's gonna be Lotus and Axel, and we already saw those. And it's gonna be Zoe as a third hero. I'm really curious to see how Zoe will perform. I am absolutely not used to see her. If I remember correctly, it's strength and hearth, right? I'm not even used to the combination. I don't even remember what the combination is. I believe it is. It's no, it's agility and heart.
Yeah, it
So,
is agility.
really weird one. I think I saw that a couple times before, back in the Discovery meta when I played in January, February. But yeah, it was mainly people just experimenting with it. I didn't think it was really good because the agility part wants to be really aggressive. The heart part wants to be a little more value oriented, to resurrect stuff and to have a better mid to late game. Whereas with Samia, you would just go face and try to play the tempo game. But yeah, I guess that if you can be aggressive in the early game and then have your art cards refill your hands and make for another round of aggression, then Zoe could be really interesting.
Yeah, and for me, like, I don't know, like, for me, Zeta picks look a little bit weird. So I'm more fan of Puppeteer heroes. So
Okay.
you can see, for example, like Horik, Axel, Banjo, it's like, yeah, more
Super
controlish,
strong.
yeah, more controlish lineup. And yeah, of course, like the heart wisdom combination in intellect, it's very nice to see. And I guess, yeah, the Banjo, the Axel, and the Horik are have very very heavy strengths of their individual cards right now. So I guess, yeah, I'm a more fan of Puppeteer pick. And I guess our game is starting, and I would say Axel pick should be made from what I saw.
It could be. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Puppeteer's lineup as well, mainly because I doubt Zoe is going to be really good. I mean, those type of hybrid can be really explosive and make for some really powerful combination. But as you said, you have to take in account the power level of the single cards. Since Discovery mode isn't a mode where you can decide which cards that you're going to have, you might as well pick a Prism, pick an hero that usually has strong cards. And that's pretty much it. That's a good way to start, considering the hero to play in Constructed. And I want to remember that if you are a returning player like I am, there's been a new expansion coming, I believe it was a couple months ago, maybe 1 month ago, which was a good injection of new cards. It definitely changed a bit what the tier list of the heroes were. And also, as Kartoa mentioned before, now that the game is moving towards a more constructed-oriented balance, you have to expect that to be like the core of the game right now. So Discovery is probably going to be really fun, really explosive, really weird, just like some formats, some very weird formats are in some card games. I'm thinking, of course, about Wild in Hearthstone or some draft formats, for example, for Magic the Gathering. So Discovery is always going to be that. It's always going to be a format where you can like experiment. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free to play. You don't have to build any deck. But in the end, if you want to have the actual competitive experience, grind for those chests, as Kartoa said, you're going to have to learn a bit about Constructed. And hopefully Kartoa will be a streamer that you can rely on to learn some Constructed in the upcoming weeks and months when he streams on the Metaguild channel.
Yeah, sounds great. And we already have a battle of Horik and Axel. It's very interesting to see the So yeah, no bans. Yes, no bans. I was talking about bans.
No bans, yeah. It's three heroes. First to three or best of five, as you would say.
Okay. And yeah, so far, good tempo from both sides. We see quite same power level on board currently, and yeah, it's probably gonna be a long mid-range game. Not control, but more mid-range.
Yeah, I remember actually Horik being one of the first constructed decks I played. It used to be really strong. The light archetype, if I remember correctly, with Horik, where you abused a lot of his mid-range potential to really be super aggressive. You did not fear any of the control decks because you had a lot of recursion for your units from the graveyard to the board. Yeah. And you also had some really beefy bodies in the mid game, just like the strength part of his Prism would want. And for Axel, yeah, we already commented on Axel. He's really reactive type of archetype. Also decent at developing board, like he's doing right now on turn 6, emptying his hands and becoming the aggressor.
And we already see the great value from Foul Stench that he can use already right now on this board. There are different possibilities also. Let's say Olympia now has a card, Gift of Kwai. It's a little bit different now. It's attaches banner and shield to every ally. So it's you want to have some board before playing this. So I guess False Stench has a great value right now. Yeah, and he even decides to not kill Junk Golem before, so he could have done it with double zombie, but he decides to leave it on board. Probably, I actually think it's a very interesting line, because he can rely on Olympia next turn this way, yes? By leaving more creatures on the board.
Yeah, pretty much forced to Beetle and Redwood right now, unless he wants to go heavy cavalry, because that good combination of a wide board and Olympia with a Gift of Psi to play right from the attachment slot, it's kind of gone, and now he has to think on how to develop long term before he can actually Olympia right away. But it seems like he's gonna go Olympia and not wait, so he can actually get rid of the Junk Golem. Also, this play is really good. He also gets a shield on the Zomboid, and together with that, he can attack the Doomshroom and bring his attack to 2/5 since the zombie has Wither.
Very interesting. So Puppeteer has, let's say, heavy cavalry, has some kind of like draw cycle in his hand. It looks quite heavy, so he will have plays for some time. I'm not sure it's the same issue with Zato hand. Like, he just played 2 1-mana cards. He only have 2 cards left, even though he has 8 mana. By the way, have you seen? Oh yeah, he played all Foggy in early games. So, and he has mana, has a crystal advantage over the opponent.
Saw that. Yeah, that was a really crucial start of for his game. I mean, not many times you see such a lead for Axel to be able to even be aggressive, and that's partly because of the ramp of the extra crystal.
Yeah, and now very nice identity creases on Doomshroom. You can see that it will just disappear. I don't think there will be better value than this. Oh, he decides to. Okay, he'll just decides to keep the Olympia alive with this order, and yeah, he will have a crystal to play Redwood. Do we call it mana or crystal?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would call it mana crystal. How about that?
Okay.
Ooh,
and Hydra.
That's an insane development for turn 9. I guess you cannot ask for anything better than that. You have open attack onto the Horik if he doesn't develop any guard units, and you have a recursive board thanks to the death effect of Hydra that summons 3 Vipers with Armor that are really hard to deal with. You need an AoE of some sort, and Puppeteer can draw into the Flame Phoenix, and he can definitely do something about it. He also has Forest Fire, But best way to counter that Hydra would be to silence it in some way. But of course, it has LED on, so it's impossible for a Puppeteer to actually put some silence onto the Hydrex.
Yeah, and yeah, so far I think it's the best card that Xata could have played, like 9 mana crystals, and this Hydrex is there is just no better card in this situation.
Yeah.
So he got definitely quite lucky with his draw.
Nothing better. I agree with that, and it's gonna take turns and turns and turns for Zato to remove that. Ooh, especially if thanks to Flock, the good old Axel is gonna have an answer to that hope.
Wow!
And just like that, hope is gone, and it might mean something more than a unit leaving the board. Probably it means that there's no hope for Puppeteer to win this game.
Wow, it was looking so bad for Zato without knowing what's inside his hand. Yes, what's in his hand, because yeah, this is Hydrex and Soul Shepherd. They just like the game was crushed on their entrance, let's say. And right now, yeah, he has 4 damage on his hero. It's very close to lethal. If he has like any removal, he should be able to lethal his opponent. But anyway, he is very much ahead, Zato, and Puppeteer only have heavy cavalry in his hand, and he'll just need to top deck very hard removal.
Yeah.
And actually, he has some interesting options. But yeah,
it's gonna cycle. Okay, that's a smart one. With the Songbird, maybe get into a removal to bypass the guard and just finish the opponent off. I mean, after all, he already attacked using the banners from the Songbird, so he's more than happy to just cycle them thanks to the passive that the Soul Shepherd has. And you can even use the 0 mana spell on the Songbird, exactly. So another cycle plus 3 mana. He's digging through a lot of cards, not finding the lethal right away. And he does take flight, so it's 10 plus 3. No, he's lacking 2 mana.
It's one of. But it is very close, yeah. Oof. He has a banner. Oh, he has. It is a banner, yes. He just check the opponent. So.
But he has already attacked. He has attacked Beetle, so he's not Beetle right away.
Okay.
I was thinking I was missing something. This time it was you. Okay.
Yeah. But it's over anyway. There's no way from your side how he can change it.
Like I'm thinking about the best possible top deck that Puppeteer could have was probably the Forest Fire, and still wouldn't do anything. Like 3 damage would not be enough, even with the Wither, even if the possibility of summoning something for both players, like the Elder Woods. Nah, it definitely wasn't enough for Puppeteer to be safe. So we're probably gonna go to game 2 with Zato on a 1-0 advantage. Really good from the Axel player. Once again, Zato was able to play the beatdown instead of chasing the opponent. That's really good. When Axel can do that, it's definitely one of the best heroes in the game, like no question.
Yeah, it will be interesting to collect some data on the like heroes and to see like who are the best performance heroes. But yeah, from what we see on Axel's side, have Axel lost our game on our coverage? I think.
Yep.
Yeah, once, yes, and won 2 times. So, but I guess I expect him to be one of the best heroes.
I would say so myself. Yeah, probably the most popular. Considering it started to be decent. I mean, it's probably one of the first hero people started to play constructed with back in the days where Skyweaver was released. And also it started being a decent discovery alternative because you would end up facing a lot of pure Lotus. And with Axel, you would have that extra value on the recursive units that would destroy Lotus. So I guess it's one of the best classes in the game. I don't know how it's doing in constructed, but I guess it's doing
excellent. It's doing excellent. I think top one player is playing Axel.
Okay, so it's probably like top 1 in constructed, top 3 at least as classes in discovery. So I guess Axel is really good in all types of play. Okay, so Axel is set aside for Puppeteer. He already won his game with it. So he only has Horik and Banjo available. Oh, my bad. It's Zato winning. So it's Zeto it's gonna have Lotus and Zoe. That's really weird. I mean, I think as long as your opponent has Horik, you want to go with Zoe. Because Horik can be pretty clunky, and it's really hard for Zoe to be aggressive against the Banjo because of the many AoEs that he's got. I think I would queue Zoe right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense definitely. But actually, looking at this, I think Banjo will always have a nice matchup.
Yeah.
Looking at Lotus, Axel, and Zoe, so maybe leaving Horik for later makes sense
yeah.
for Puppeteer.
I mean, Lotus is pretty much dead against. I mean, it could be really tough for Zeto to win with Lotus on paper, right? Because all of the heroes that Pop is bringing could potentially outvalue Lotus, or not only outvalue it, but even be aggressive against it. Like Axel and Horik have good chances of being aggressive against Lotus because they have a lot of recursion from the cemetery or from the graveyard, if you want to call it like that. So it's not super easy for Lotus to win those two matchups. And usually Banjo has extra value for late game through some combinations of high mana cards. So yeah, it's looking pretty bad for Zeto. So I still stand by my first opinion that Zeto starts this final as slightly disadvantaged. But, you know, Discovery is also a game of randomness, of opportunity, and it definitely can be Zeto winning 3-0 for what we know.
Yeah, he's bleeding actually. So
it's 1-0. So
yeah,
third of all the way.
I want to also mention that it's actually very nice strategy from Puppeteer. I think I'm trying to understand what the logic behind, because Horik, Axel, and Banjo, they could be good against control, like against one prism control, like Lotus, and actually by let's say beating aggro or beating mid range might be like hard idea to make it work, but beating control by just like having greedy decks sounds it makes way more sense. So I guess this strategy is very interesting.
Like the good old conquest modes where you in many cards game there are I mean in those card games where you can have multiple decks, having a target deck that you can win with high percentage is always been a good strategy. Of course, you can resort to just the good decks in the meta and just bring those. But sometimes people like to have a so-called target archetype. They want to win with all their decks. And it looks like Pop is going for a counter onto the most reactive and traditional control decks like Lotus. So definitely a good call. Yeah, if I was Zeto, I would want something way more aggressive than he does. Like Lotus is not one of those decks that can easily become the aggressor. Like it's really rare to have a Lotus deck with what you can be aggressive and start to be the beatdown.
Yeah, for sure. But still, is the discovery like anything could happen?
Anything can happen. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. I mean, of course, in tournaments where you don't have that, as I mentioned before, big sample of games. I mean, even best of 5 could be considered a pretty small sample. But of course, in a tournament, luck can play a really good role, a really huge role. And in a best of 5, let's say, for example, that Zeto gets one aggressive deck with Lotus, like really aggressive deck, and the opponent doesn't have any answers. Well, that can be the end of the series, because Pop at that point does not have his target deck to play against anymore. And so he suddenly becomes the guy with the bad lineup of the two. So yeah, anything can happen, but we're finally on the mulligan with Puppeteer's perspective. And he's getting a pretty solid start with this hand. It can definitely be a beatdown hand with the 1 mana, the 2 mana drop, the 3 mana drop, and the 4 mana follow-up with Dirge. Really good curve.
And Chester is very nice card. Like it's like just his hand will just continue drawing, and if he has, let's say, some kind of resurrect mechanic, like Chester with this resurrection mechanic is very strong competitive play, constructed play. So we are not sure if he has it already, and we're not going to tell it, but still it's very nice. Potential combination. Still very good looking early game hand, and definitely Lotus will have problem with this kind of hand.
Yeah.
We see the gladiator coming.
Yeah, right away, Gladiator is a mess. How can you solve it? It's gonna go as an attack and proc the banner. That's gonna be a turn 2 Pyrocrafter for what we know, or Puppeteer could even explore his options and go with Bad Dreams, but why not start off with Unicron and Pyrocrafter and hit it in the face?
He missed one attack on Unicron.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. He missed on the banner activation from Gladiator, and it could be important since Puppeteer is the aggressor in this matchup.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see if that 1 HP comes into play later on.
Yeah, but still very nice curve out. Chester into Onismith. Onismith is very strong card currently. Like the way you could utilize it, you could buff creatures, you could like remove someone in stealth. It's very strong card currently. So yeah.
Chester for turn 3. Yeah, it's playing out like the most traditional mid-range deck. Every turn you have something to develop your board with. You're gonna have some cards that buff each other. You're gonna have some cards that grant you card draws. And overall, your mission is to reduce your opponent's HP slower so that you can finally blow out some damage later on, being able to go for the killing blow. What? Okay, so
Zato was not happy with his hand. Maybe he got a better one.
Sears Mask. Gain 1 mana and mulligan your hand. Yeah. When you have to do such plays, you're never in a good mood. You never have good options. So I guess it was forced to do that.
Yeah. But like, how you like the Lotus portrait, hero portrait?
It's really cool. That's I love insane. Some of the legacy heroes are really beautiful, and Lotus is definitely one of the best ones, especially because his original artwork makes him look weak, and this one makes him look like a Chad. Look at him.
Yes, definitely these hands out of everywhere. It's like it feels it definitely feels like when you're playing against control decks. They have every hand for your threats.
Yeah, they have many answers to your threats, and there's nothing you can do. They're always in control. So yeah, 4 mana, pretty much just getting ready for the upcoming turns.
And you can remove this chest with Fire Rune. It's like, yeah, it's okay. He decides to leave the chest on the board. Okay, just to not give more options to Puppeteer. But yeah, as you see, like this, Onismith 4 damage, 3/3 for 4 on board. Yeah, very strong.
Then you're gonna have turn 5 still, because there's Buster into Dawnblade, his attachment. So yeah, it's the perfect curve here for Puppeteer. Like, on Zato's perspective, you either resolve the board right now, but you still have to face the 2 extra cards that your opponent is going to draw from Chester, or you're dead, because you're facing 8 damage at least, and your opponent, having the Strength Prism, has a lot of chances to buff stuff and to be dealing some burn damage, like from the hand, as if it has direct damage for your hero.
Yeah, and definitely if even one minion survives on Puppeteer's side, like this Buster is insanely strong card.
Yeah.
Like he's buffing left and right units when they attack. It's a very strong mechanic, and it should be enough to finish. Oh no, it's Mind Rune. So yeah, this chest will be dazed, and he will only have 4 attack on board right now, or 0 or 1.
I mean, just 8 HPs and Guru on board. There's not many chances for survival. Of course, Dazed is really good debuff upon those Chester. It's also 1 mana that eventually the Puppeteer is going to have to spend unless he wants to play Dawnblade instead and remove Dazed, but he's not going to be able to attack right now. And also, yeah, it uses a lot of the value of Dawnblade. You want to use Dawnblade the moment you can attack with it to maximize the use of shield and the mana you spend, of course.
Yeah.
But he's going to just do that. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, he decides to do it. It's very interesting line. Yeah, like you could consider like Steam Knight plays here. Yeah, I like this line. I like this aggressive line. Like, let's say Lotus just not in the position when he can tank this guard, this shield from Chester. So he'll probably need to have some kind of remove for Chester for this shield to be ineffective.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it will be a problem for him. And it seems like he's looking for answers.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to remove that 7-4 anyway. Like at the moment, it's costing Zato's life to remove that because he has to remove the shield with his face and then go with the 6-8 attack. Okay, he can silence
This
it.
works.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
it
removes the
works.
shield. It also removes the death effect.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no card is gonna be drawn by the Chester. So the mode comes on. There's also an Eradicate, and there's also yeah, this is a full clear. And oh, even the Charmling, that's really good. You have a guard to protect your hero. It might not be the end. Of course, there's plenty of decent options in Puppeteer's end. Of course, it starts with Bad Dreams to reduce attack and to see the opponent's end. And he also has Steam Knight and Shade to develop. But yeah, it's not super easy to start being aggressive again. Of course, the Steam Knight can dash into the 0-3, and you can even connect to the face and bring the opponent to 5. But yeah, you're not really close to it.
Yeah. You're right. You want to go face with the heroes. So Steam Knight definitely. Other consideration is to attack the Cloud Kid, not the Charmlene. But I guess this one damage might be crucial. So yeah, he decides to.
Yeah, and let's remember that Zato should be at 7 HP. Let's see if that comes into play because of the banner missed on turn 4.
Yeah. And even like, was there only one attack on this? What was it? Unicorn or more than one attack he made to the face?
I don't know actually, but definitely at least one damage was just missed by the order. So
yeah,
the order of the
I mean, but like this card, let's say it had 2 attack, it could have had 3. So that means if he attacked face
you're right.
2 times,
yeah.
That's like more than
I see
one
what
damage.
you mean. Yeah, the Unicorn should have been a 3-4, not a 2-4. Yeah. I see what you mean.
But here is Harbinger with dash and wither. It's very nice 5-4. He could kill the Silent Warden. He could go. Okay, it's silenced, but still doesn't matter. He just pushes with. He just needs 3 damage to finish this game, and but his hand is disappearing. It's only he will have 2 cards next turn, and if Lotus can find a way to remove a board and heal, which looks hard for me, or like have a decent shield, big taunt. Okay, Burter Creeps.
Okay.
Also, very nice. Yeah, it's
a good stabilization, but it's really easy. It's really easy for Puppeteer to start being aggressive again. Of course, the strength part of his deck is really strong. He has Garuda, he has Hammerhead in his deck, he has Giot, he has Mother Mender, and also one of the latest addition, the BFR 9001, the 10 mana 8/8 with dash. So yeah, there's plenty of option for Puppeteer to resume his aggression and to seize the late game.
And he top decks the Beast, which is like one of the best cards because it is big and it also has a fate, so he will draw 1 extra card because of it. And it's very nice. I guess I
just play both here.
Yeah, play both and probably attack into 4/4. Yes, you just like need to.
Yeah, exactly. So that Grunk, if the 4/3 attacks, you make 2 4/3s for your opponent. So whatever he chooses to attack the Grunk with, you can still resolve with your face in the next turn. So yeah, very nice play from Puppeteer. He sees the line. Of course, it costs a lot of HPs, but Puppeteer is more than willing to invest his HPs to just finish off the opponent.
Yeah, and interesting to see what Dato top decked, because the Puppeteer was very lucky with this the Beast top deck. That should also be rewarded.
Oh,
okay. But he spent 5 mana and he doesn't get mana in return because
he's just desperate.
So yeah, it's not good for him. He just
and
drew
also
5
the
cards
Burninate. Yeah, it's over.
But okay. It's just Burninate and kill, yes,
and little damage.
But no. Listen. He can't attack because of
the 4/3 puts the heroes to sleep. You're right.
Yeah. So it's not over yet.
Wow. Okay. It's not over. But probably before using Burninate, I would want to use the Mother Mender here to maximize its value. With Mother Mender, you get Burninate plus the banner from the Mother Mender plus the banner from the Fire Mender, and you can clear the 4/3 and have good board development. Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah.
So you get rid of the card, and you're good to go for the next turn still.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Yeah, if Zato has a card that like has more than 4 health taunt, he'll be fine. Yes, he
Yeah.
just needs remove the 3/6, place a big
Well.
taunt.
Yes, Dirge. So even if the enemy has 5 guards, 5 for guard, you can
Okay.
Dirge and then burninate and then finish off. But yeah, you don't have the mana to scorch face. I see what you mean.
Okay, but even if he has a big taunt, you still have this big metal unit, 10 mana 8/8, which will just dash into it and kill him next turn.
He's super in control anyway. Yeah.
So
Even if he's Zato.
I would say Zato needs to find a way to gain some health. This is the only option for him.
Yeah, the good to touch the sky. The good old touch the sky.
But it doesn't heal anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said good old touch the sky.
Okay.
The old one would set your hero health to 16, even if you're like 1 HP.
It was so sad that it's nerfed. If it wasn't nerfed, he would get good chance here, but
he would have won probably.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Terminate finishes off with the Scorch, and we have a series that goes to at least 4 games because we are now 1-1. Zato loses to the Horic that Puppeteer brought, and now we still have the Lotus that could be the weak link in Pop lineup. I'm sorry, in Zato's lineup. So yeah, what we were discussing before is probably becoming a reality. Zato desperately needs to win with Lotus, otherwise the whole lineup that Puppeteer brought could be winning against it with these very good, resilient mid-range decks.
Yeah, and it's very also interesting, like to see this Lotus pick. You see, like the hero is defensive, and with just one card, like he really rely on this card. Yes, touch the sky. Like before, it was so good restoring your health, and now it's just it was like big difference between win and loss. So I guess this hero just. I don't know. Seems a little bit weaker to me currently. If let's say like you have 9 heroes, I doubt it's in top 3 currently. Yeah. So maybe he thought that like counter the meta, like just one step ahead to have this kind of like try to counter some kind of strategy with Lotus. Maybe this I can see. But yeah, so far doesn't seem that good against the Puppeteer.
I'm really curious to see how the Zoe is gonna perform. Like as I said, it could be the outsider, as they say, the dark horse, the one thing that you do not expect to be good, and it ends up being really good. But I mean, we first have to see how this Lotus does. This Lotus could be the death of Zato lineup, and I mean, he was able, to be fair, to win against an Axel in the semifinals, and that was what brought Zato here in the finals. So I hope for him that he manages to do the same. Otherwise, we're gonna see a pretty much one-sided finals. If my prediction and Kartoa's prediction is correct, that the Lotus doesn't have an easy matchup.
It's not really one-sided because he can just queue, let's say, with Zoe, and I actually think Zoe. He also has Zoe. I just remembered.
But
so it's tricky. It's tricky.
Yes, he also has to get rid of the Lotus win, because this type of formula you cannot just lose with Lotus all your games and win with others. At a certain point, you're gonna have to win with Lotus.
And also, I want to mention one thing, because I can't be always sure, but Zato has a Chinese flag, right? And like it's for me it's very interesting because people that play the game from China, they are usually like have, let's say, their own like meta understanding of the game. They're very good at it, and like they really like this kind of control-ish, like weird decks.
I see.
In my understanding, so it kind of like makes sense to see these picks together.
I see, absolutely. I mean, I remember back in the days, I would, out of like 5 to 6 hours a day, I would spend playing Skyweaver. Like 3 hours, I was playing Samia mirrors against Chinese players. So I guess things changed a lot because in Discovery there was a lot of very good Samia players that would just spam games, very fast games, fast-paced playstyle with Samia. But of course, if you did it too, yeah, I did it too. I remember my personal record is I believe 14 wins in a row in Conquest, when Conquest used to give you golden cards with Samia. I think it's my personal record. 14 wins in a row, which is three golden cards, and then I lost at the golden card match against Abenjo. I still remember it. And yeah, it was pretty insane how Samia was good. And then they nerfed it. And yeah, there was a small niche of time when Samia was super good because it received Samia speed, and the other cards were not nerfed. And so you had those combinations where you could have Samia speed, clear the board, and you just go face with everything else. And that was what was making the deck insanely good in Discovery. By the way, is it just me or the game didn't started yet?
It hasn't started yet. So
okay.
And also like I forgot what I was trying to say.
Well, I can say one thing. We have the third place actually. While we were playing these two games, we were playing the third place finals, and as you know, the fourth place final was still gonna be best of 3, and the third place went to Infernix. So actually, we have our third place. It's gonna receive 20 USDC, so fairly good amount of tickets to play in Conquest. Definitely a good prize pool to just spend an afternoon playing with us. Hopefully, we're gonna be able to increase the prize pool sooner or later, and we're gonna be able to have more and more players interested in Skyweaver. I wonder, do you think that if this tournament was played in Constructed, we were gonna have more players? Probably yes. If now Constructed is the competitive mode.
I mean, I am a big fan of Constructed currently. Like, I really love this format, and I would like our next tournament. I will really try to do everything from my side to push it to make it Constructed.
And I'll be with you because I'm really curious to see what happens with Constructed. I'm really eager to learn Constructed and to get back to the game. So absolutely, we can have both Discovery and Constructed. I'm still gonna be defending the competitive aspect of Discovery, but I mean, I have to kneel and accept that the Constructed is now the only competitive mode on Skyweaver.
I mean, it is like you can play ranked with Discovery, but still, like this golden cards.
Not playing ranked. I want to grind golden cards.
I mean, you're now if you're playing ranked, you get the very nice, let's say this tournament for $2,000. So
you're right.
It's
I
not
could
like,
be playing ranked to get to those 16 players in Discovery. Yeah.
It is a good deal in my understanding. And also, I wanted to mention that like this Skyweaver is actually, like you mentioned, this 40 games win streak, and win streak in these games, they're crazy. Like if you find let's say a very good deck, like very good like combination of cards, and if you're doing it in the right moment, it could get you like very long win streaks. Like I've had like more than 15 win streak, and it was recently. It's like once you like get rolling, it actually tells a lot about the game. Like once it means it tells a lot about the balance of the game itself. So yeah, I like this fact.
Okay, and we're finally into the game. We have the Banjo up against the Lotus. I think that between the two matchup that this Lotus has still available, this was probably the best, even though I'm not a fan. I mean, I still see Lotus, of course, as the weak link of the Zatos lineup. I still believe it could be decent in this matchup. It could still be winning the value run, although it really depends a lot on the Banjo deck.
Puppeteer had Prismata his mulligan, and I was thinking maybe it is a Giga Chat move to keep it against Lotus.
Prismata could make sense. At least you're sure you draw it when you need it.
Yes. But no, he's a more responsible human being, and he keeps his early game cards.
It makes sense. I mean, after all, if you get good early to mid game going on, you can still force some removals out of the Lotus end, and then your bigger threats are free to roam the board later on. So absolutely. Even though Prismata, I understand your point though. Having Prismata, being sure that you're going to play Prismata at a certain point in the game is really a good point in this type of slow matchups. But I mean, looking at how it's going, like the Orchid on the 7-mana hand, you're gonna draw an 8 card. It's gonna be really, really good for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and actually, like looking at the Banjo hand, like you can see like bad card like Overdrive. Like when you don't have this Micro Drone synergy in Discovery, quite sad to have it in your head. It's just like 2/2 for 5 for 6 mana. It's discounted, so it's 5. But yeah, I guess this card will be played in the last moment. But overall, he buffed his hands. His like dual boot cost cheaper if he is able to put out something cheesy, but probably not, because it's Discovery. Because this card is busted in different regime. We're not gonna mention
I see. Yeah, that's one of the problems of intellect. I was trying to like exactly communicate this. Banjo has really, I mean, intellect in general has really good synergies, but the problem is that sometimes you don't get to play those synergies in Discovery. So that's why it became more of a support prism to other prisms that play out as the core of the strategy.
And this ebb and flow can get out of the control very soon, yeah, because it's like gains 1 health at the sunrise, and still we don't see removal from Puppeteer side. But he has very interesting combination Quadra and Hoplite. Like with Hoplite played, he can be sure that no damage will be applied to his hero. But once again, having 3/4 Hoplite is not a big upside.
No, I would say no. But yeah, I'm starting to think from the perspective of the Banjo. Like you're starting to have a lot of options. Of course, you know that with a deck like this, I was taking a look at the deck. With a deck like this, with the Prismata available, with the Ether Surge, with Enigma Golem, you have a lot of value for the later game. So you don't have to rush. Like pretty much everything you play to slow your opponent down and to avoid the very weird aggro Lotus angle. Once you destroy that, you're pretty much good to go, and you don't have anything to fear. So with plenty of removals, you're good to go.
And I really like the play that Puppeteer made. Like he just decided that I don't need this anchor drop to be like cheap. I just play the 5 mana 3/9 taunt and leave him be. But from Zeta side, he found very nice combination Shield Bash on a Glizbot, which is 0/4 by default. It's very nice. Just 6/6 with a shield. Very nice. And Puppeteer needs to find an answer to it very soon.
Yeah, it doesn't have one of the 4+2 plays available yet, which would be really, really good. Like
but he has 4+1 turn right now, and like this Hoplite, it's like it will be not good for Zata. So I guess he will just play these 2 cards now, and then next turn he will have possibility to play either Webweaver or Andromeda, and with 2 mana spell to remove something important.
I'm thinking about what unit he could roll with dual boot, but I think right now Quadra is too good to skip. You want to play the Quadra to get back to the board. Like it's definitely used to be one of the best cards back in the days. I remember it was just 4 mana 4/4, and it does 1 damage to random units, and you repeat it 3 times. Now it's different. Yeah, now it touch chains to the lowest health enemy unit and then deals 3 times 1 damage to it. So it's much more focused as a type of damage, and it's way better.
Yeah, but still, like it's still 4 mana 5/5, and then it needs to basically you need to do something with it. By the way, this Glizbot will give the boss Glizzy to hand, and that already have 1 Glizzy in the deck, so it will be a 1 mana +2/+2 buff. It's very nice.
Yeah. This is the type of cards that are not super good in Discovery, the ones that have synergies, but I see how the game is slowly pivoting from a more constructed oriented playstyle. Like Glizzy is definitely one of those things that could be even a win condition if you think about it for an archetype like Wisdom that doesn't have many units to develop. So once you have a big one, you can Gleezy on top of it and make it your win condition.
Yeah, he buffs Burp, what is not expected on my side. Okay. And it seems like a little bit, I don't know, for me a little bit strange this turn, but
yeah,
on the other hand, he has like very nice, let's say this 4-3-6-3 minion. No, by the way, look, it does damage to other opponent also. This
yeah,
quadra.
it costs a lot to do this turn. It doesn't provide the most incredible effect. I mean, it's still making Zato playing from behind, and we know that Puppeteer has a lot of room to go if he's allowed to play like with a lot of mana, with a lot of options, with no pressure on top. And it's exactly what's going on. Like, it takes a slow path with just the Web Weaver development and some board clears, and we can see from his end that he has a ton of value.
And he's having 7 mutate because he's just decided to use Insomnia, saving mutate and saying, yeah, you have to deal with it.
yeah.
By the way, very nice. He has Glitch Break, very nice. Destroy all units, 8 mana. A very nice effect, but he's ahead right now. But on actually, from his perspective, having 10 health, it's not that good because you want to like remove board and develop. And from his position, from position of Puppeteer, he don't want to let's say remove board. He wants just to develop and attack, or to find a way to gain health. But it's discovery, so it's very hard to do it. So yeah.
I mean, now at least Puppeteer is seeing his opponent go to the rope, not looking like he has got many options, and it's probably giving some comfort to Puppeteer that he doesn't have much to do himself. He could just dual boot right now just to see what he gets, but could be a pretty clunky turn. I mean,
but
I would just do it.
Dual boot is the best option for sure.
Yeah,
because if you can top deck something playable, it is playable card.
Okay, gets decent outcome with at least a decent body, a 2/2 armor guard with the barrier on top. He also gets to draw his own Cygnus in case he wants to go for I Spy later on, deal some damage, reveal a card, and have double the effect of Cygnus.
And if he decides to not play it, like a little bit greedy, I would say, but hey, he understands what he's playing against. So he actually, I think he just wants to see who is the control deck here. He's just not pressuring. Actually, he has only 2 cards, two creatures in hand, so it makes sense to hold one. Just because you just if Lotus clears, you need to redevelop, and in this case, it could be very nice to have this in hand.
Yeah, plus you're not playing aggressive since pretty much turn 4, and your opponent is slowly collecting cards, collecting solutions. So yeah, you want to be respectful of the reactive plays that Lotus has in his arsenal, and it's just the right time to take it slow and kind of see what Lotus is gonna do with just this board, with just these 2 creatures on board. So yeah, I appreciate Puppeteer not overextending here, and of course Lotus finally goes to play something. Cloud Sloth and Nomad still maintaining a good hand, and also the Sloth is pretty threatening because he's gonna discount 7 cards. So I get it. If I get it correctly, Puppeteer is slowly falling behind, is slowly struggling to maintain his control over the board, and he might be forced to play some removals. He might be forced to even kind of give up on one of these creatures. I mean, he still has a lot of burst from his end, but the Shroud is protecting the Cloud Slot, so he cannot be the target of spells or effects.
What do you think of Tushari and Overclock? Like discarding your hand, draw that many cards, give them -1. Like you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it to this much value in your hand, yeah?
I guess. I mean, especially the Prismata. Especially the Prismata is holding me back from thinking about that play. Yeah.
Yeah. But he knows that he has little bit problems with this Prismata. Yes, like he doesn't have light minion to use it
He
on.
doesn't have an activator. Yeah, he has to in some way conjure it, generate it, and yeah, like with Dream Calling, for example, could be good when he has no creatures in his deck. He cannot draw and summon a unit from his deck, and so it could be a random light one, but it's really clunky to actually have a light unit to use the Prismata on.
Yeah, and actually, I want to mention a very nice play from Puppeteer next turn, applying Mutate on his own Webweaver, which is quite unusual play, and he had a very nice trade because of it. And and Zeta is missing dark element, so his Sky Phoenix missing one element to be resummoned. That's quite sad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, right now there's. I mean, I wish I could briefly switch to Zato's perspective, and I probably will because I'm really curious to see.
Okay.
To see how his perspective is. I mean, we know that Puppeteer has a good end right now. I mean, not super good, but definitely some initiative from him. But we don't know what type of deck Zato is bringing to the table. So I'm gonna really quickly go to his perspective and take a look at his deck and his hand.
And very, very nice play from Puppeteer because he knows that this Andromeda gives your spell one more damage, and he used just two spells, Ice Spy and Burn to Creeps, which in summary do 5, but because of this buff, they were able to dust the Sky Phoenix, so the Sky Phoenix is gone from this game. He will not be back.
Yeah, and I'm taking a look, by the way. Do you want some news?
Okay, yes, I
think it's pretty much over, my friend, because I mean, not only Zato has only 4 cards in his deck, but none of those are really value-based cards. It's Fuji, AoE clear, basically, the 2/2 that dies and attaches flame to a random enemy unit and has the volcanic potion attached. He has Neferti, he has Manglong Wish, the 3-mana spell, and he has Grasping Maiden. So he really has no card to start being aggressive. What he could do is wait for the cards to be drawn and roll the Ether Whale and draw and summon 2 units that's going to be conjured and see if he gets something decent out of those. But I think that Puppeteer is going to go over this Lotus.
Yeah, and he still have value in his hand. Yes, he has Ministerial. He can conjure like this minions with Anima. He still has Tushari, which could be a big threat, especially in the late game where you like play multiple cards and it grows very fast. So yeah, it's so far it looks like it's not looking good for Zato later.
Yeah, I think he's considering his concede, to be honest, because right now, not many options. He cannot either whale because he knows he's gonna go Fuji and Neferti. He's going for conjure a card, so Manglong Wish, conjure a card and see if the draw is already a good one. He draws the Book Casey and he goes and probably tries to get Incinerate and Insomnia. He gets them both. Okay,
these are very nice. These are extremely good ones. And yeah, he uses it properly. He can still use.
Wow, this is a turn. This is a very good turn.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And he also had to kind of gamble on it because these are all conjured cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, and still, and I wanted to remind you that this maiden is holding an Octavian 8/8 guard.
Yeah.
So once it's dead, Puppeteer will be not happy with the position he's in.
Yeah,
so very interesting. But
one turn ago it seems over, but right now it seems like Puppeteer is in trouble.
Yeah, and very nice top deck. He removed with this Fire Noble 1-mana cards, but yeah. He still have a removal. He has Glitch Break. So let's say if Zato kills Maiden, gets this 8/8, he can just as well. Puppeteer can just as well remove his own board, deploy the new one. But yeah, he'll definitely lose tempo by doing that.
Yeah. Also, I think at this point, like there's been many turns where Puppeteer didn't play much from his end. So at this point, Zato has figured out that some of the cards are reactive ones, and that Puppeteer is just waiting for the table to turn and to be the defender, not the aggressor, to be able to use those. So I guess that Zato is going to be really cautious with his aggression and just play enough to be threatening lethal, but without overcommitting. He actually commits quite a lot here, and this could be what makes Puppeteer pull the trigger on the removal.
It should be removal right now. It is, and yeah, you have an option to play Tooth Harry. Yeah, you just play it, and it is a big threat. Like if you don't kill it right now, he can just play many cards, and who knows, maybe it will be like 8-1 or something, and smack him in the head. It will be sad. So this is like a small threat, but at the same time, it could grow very big. You never know what to expect from it.
Right now, I can already tell you that Zato has a pretty huge play coming on if he wants to go for it. So he has Eldest, the 8 mana, 6/7. It used to be 6/7. Glory, give your hero armor, but he just goes for the Aether Well. It's pretty risky because, I mean, he is pulling cards that he knows about, but I mean, exactly for that reason, I didn't expect him to play those. I would have preferred Eldest and the 6 mana Soulforge to get extra value, and
okay,
it would have pulled a Grasping Maiden. Okay, Prismata, let's go.
And he already have Aether Whale, so he can summon 2 big units from his deck. He has Anchor Drop for 0. He can draw, like he's a little bit missing with Order, seems like. But so far it's, I don't know, like he can't kill this 8/8, so and he can't heal his opponent. I mean, he can technically shrink rate, but no, of course it's better. Oh, it's way better. And he
nice
0 mana Dream Calling, yeah.
That's a huge one. Frog King, not the best. You want to play the Frog King, not summon it to dust target unit. Gift of Ixaat. Better for everybody on 111. He's just rolling. He just wants to roll the biggest 230 that he can to just lethal with it.
He can kill, yeah. he will kill him with his 230. Exactly.
He needs a little bit more. 10-3. He has to attack right now. He has lethal already. It's 10 plus 3 plus. No, he missed lethal, right?
No, but he still have different rolls. He could have.
Yeah, but he already had lethal.
Oh no, it's 12.
He had knives plus zap. he risked to miss lethal though.
But what do you mean? How he had banner?
He had 10 plus 3 plus zap plus knives.
Ah yes, you're right.
Oof,
yes,
he
exactly
risked
right.
a lot here. Risking the miss lethal just to give us some show. And he ends up having the lethal with 230.
But still, it was extremly close game. Yes, like we were not sure until the end.
I was fairly sure that Lotus would lose before he found the, how's it called? Damn, I don't even remember the name of the spell.
You can tell what it does.
Pretty much the one that refilled his hand. The Manglong Wish. Yeah, the Manglong Wish.
Okay.
And then Lotus kind of got the lead by conjuring a ton of good cards. But then, yeah, finally for Puppeteer, there was a card to sacrifice to the Prismata, and he got the grasp of the board yet again to be able to deal lethal damage. But yeah, it's 2-1 for Puppeteer, and our prediction is becoming reality. So as you can see, even if Discovery is a really RNG-ish mode, you still, on the long run, kind of can predict what the classes will do, which class is vulnerable to which class, and so you definitely have a meta forming on, and you definitely have some good hints on how the deck performs in specific lineups. So I guess that in the end, that Lotus and that Zoe could be the death of Zeto.
Yeah, and I also want to like mention some interesting mechanic, like that is not obvious. It probably will be interesting to you and like for people who were not up to game recently. But if you remember this Mixolotron we saw in one of the semi-final game recently, when like whenever you would draw and conjure, you draw or conjure the highest cost card possible, and with this. Wish for 3 mana that conjures 10 cards. It just conjures 10 the best, like the most expensive cards for each element. There is some little bit randomness, but pretty much they're consistent. They're conjuring very big cards. So yeah, it's very nice mechanic. I'm sad that we didn't see it. It's rare in Discovery, but the fact that you can like just conjure cards and know what you're conjuring, like these best cards, it gives so much value to these control decks. And yeah, in Discovery it would be a game breaker.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's typical card that gets really abused in constructed to mana cheat your way to an easy win, I guess. Hopefully,
I mean,
nothing happens like that in Discovery, because it would be out of control and would be make for a pretty unfair game. But you know, Discovery is also that.
Yeah, if you have a choice, Volga, to have like 10, let's say, very good expensive card as a control deck, but have it only in the end game, like do not top deck them in the start of the game, I think you would choose it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. So waiting for possibly the last game to start, I want you guys to remember that we are on a 2-1 score in favor of Puppeteer. He won with his Banjo. He won with his Axel. So no, sorry, with Horik. And now he only has Axel to win with, while Zeto won with his Axel, if I remember correctly. So Zeto still has Lotus and Zoe to win with, and for Pop, it's just a matter of winning with Axel to finish it all.
Yeah, and for me, it looks like it should be Puppeteer should be favored in both of these matchup, except Axel and Lotus, Axel and Zoe. So yeah, we'll see if Zeto can pull something interesting, because from players' perspective, like we only saw little of mistake so far. The players are very good. Like players are playing very good. Doesn't do mistakes. They are doing plays that we are not seeing, and it just tells that they are very good players.
Absolutely, and Discovery, as I said, is all about not micromanagement, not knowing everything and being really diligent with it, but kind of improvising, knowing what your opponent can do, what your deck can do if you pilot it in a certain way. And of course, with this particular format where you have to think of a lineup of 3 heroes, it kind of goes to show that even if you cannot rely on specific deck lists, you can still like make some target lineups as the one that Puppeteer is proposing that are really good against specific classes, like the Lotus that Zeto is bringing, and it's still the deck that could cost him the finals.
Yeah, and I would also say that probably Lotus and Ari should be also like the weak prism, weak hero to target. Similar to this, but I'm not sure. Like we haven't seen one, and we probably just not popular, not that strong anymore.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how would the full aggro lineup perform at this point. I know that like Skyweaver is not exactly the game to play burn decks or face decks, as you call them in some games. First, because you have only one card per specimen per type, so you cannot have really consistent decks that only do that specific things really well. But at the same time, like for the way that some of the reactive cards are balanced in this game, it's really easy to destroy an aggressive game plan with just one card. And so an opponent that empties his hand does not have many ways to recover cards and does not have many ways to kind of play around stuff from the opponent. So probably full aggro is something that we're going to see in the future. But as for now, I kind of expected the meta, even if it was constructed, even if it was more of a competitive thing, I still expect the game to be much more revolving around the eternal battle between control and mid-range.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We are waiting for the
Okay,
last
there we
game.
go.
It's the score is it could be the last game if
Yep.
if Puppeteer wins. Yeah, and still we see this Lotus. Lotus is trying to win one game, and it's the most important game for him currently.
Yeah, at the moment, Lotus lost 2 games in a row for Zato. It could be 3 if Puppeteer is able to win with Axel as well. And since I'm taking a look at Zato's hand, I can already give you a preview of how his deck is like. And it's a fairly defensive deck. There is a Mixolotron, as you mentioned. There's a Mixolotron, there is a Genesis Avatar, a Prismata, and a Touch the Sky. But unfortunately, that Prismata in Zato's deck doesn't have many chances to activate. Because the only light unit is the Genesis Avatar. So it's fairly difficult. I mean, he can still have some generation cards. I'm taking a look at what could be generating a light unit, but it's a pretty defensive deck with just the Prismata and the Genesis Avatar as win conditions.
And Puppeteer deck looks very, very aggressive from what I see. So it would be he will be in the role of aggressor this matchup,
which is what he wants. I mean,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
When you can be aggressive against Lotus, as we said, you force removals out of his hand. You cannot expect Lotus to keep up the pace with a good mid-range curve. And I mean, good thing for Zato is that he has a lot of units with pretty effective costs. For example, he has a Xavi ready, which comes with the Hyper Beam attached. So he has some ways to be really aggressive on his own. But considering the type of beatdown that Puppeteer is already developing, it's still going to be Zato on the defensive side and Puppeteer on the aggressive side.
Yeah, for sure. And he has already Dirge, and once he will be able to establish a strong board, it's very strong card to assert your dominance and just push a very lots of damage with it. So he definitely will be trying to stick some minions on the board and have a big Dirge turn this game.
Yeah, as I said, Xavi's probably coming off already. It's really good that he could remove the 2/4 and get access to the fungi, because like this he can go face with the 2/2 and the Lotus can get rid of the fungi before it becomes a threat, or even do this. Okay, sure. Not to attack with the lifesteal is way better.
Yeah, and also just denies this possibility of fungi going on multiple minions. It's better to just accept on only bogey.
Exactly that. So for now, it's good damage control from Zato. He got some stuff on the board. Not the most threatening units, of course, but they did their thing. They kept the Puppeteer board in check. Now, let's see how the board develops for the Axel player. It's going to be a 1/4. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards ever in control play. Like having a 2/1/4 barrier with lifesteal that covers your hero and then dazes one of the target enemy unit. That's one of the reasons that aggro is not very popular. When you have cards like this that can destroy the tempo of aggro decks, you understand immediately why aggro is not popular on Skyweaver.
Yeah, it is popular, but it is definitely one of the strongest early game cards to stop this aggression. And Dazed is so annoying effect. You don't want to spend 1 mana to remove it. You can't attack. Let's say you can't just compare to rules. You can just play enchantment and attack with this character. So it's very, very annoying. And what I see right now, if Zeto will not remove these minions on the board, Puppeteer will have a very huge turn next turn. So it's up to that. But yeah, he just doesn't know. He has Fire Noble and Dirge, so at least removing leaving 2 minions on board is enough for Puppeteer to do this very strong turn. So if that doesn't have any strong removal, AoE removal, to this I don't know to this board, it will be not good looking for him.
Mind Rune just to daze the Boogie and prevent him from attacking. Metal Rune to put chains and remove the tags out of the Ice Spider. And yeah, he's still chasing though. He's still trying to get control of the board, and it's looking
3 minions
pretty
on
decent.
the board. But yeah, right now it surely will be a dirt turn. I don't see the reason of holding it anymore. The only question is, he'll just play the Scorch. Yeah, and let's see, that's +5/+5 for 4 mana, and he's also -2/-2 from his opponent board. Very strong turn, and he's also removing Daze from Boogie to attack next turn.
Very strong turn.
Yeah, it is. So right now that Data needs to find an answer to this board.
I don't know what though. He doesn't. As I said, the deck didn't look super good at late game, and I mean his hand is full of units. He has Deepus, he has Mixotron, he has Burb, he has Guru, he has Archivist, he has Scrollkeeper. Not exactly the hand that you want to play from behind. That's a good hand to curve out and to be the aggressor, or to try and contain the aggression from your opponent, but he doesn't have UJOEs to come back into the game. Like, he only has touched the sky. He has it ready in his hand, but it's still 3 turns before he can play it with the mana crystal attached to his hero. So yeah, it's looking really bad for Zato right now, and the Lotus is proving to be the weakness to this lineup.
And Puppeteer also have a very strong next turn. Jar of Souls will summon 3 very nice units, and even he can summon a Mushroom that will summon another fun guy. So his board, like even if Zato will be able to clear this board, the next one will be even, I mean, not stronger, but the same size. So yeah, we'll probably see the Jar of Souls drop right now. I will hope it will be instant. Oh, actually, it's very interesting. Crapstrosity. It's 7 mana 2/2. Does 2 minions on top of the deck and gain his traits, but only small minions that died so far, so it's not very good card. So he uses Jar of Soul, and he for some reason attacked with Matchstick first, and he didn't get Mushroom. I didn't understand why he did it, because otherwise he would
must have been a misplay.
Two fun guys.
Yeah, must have been a misplay. You definitely want the second fun guy and the extra body from Mushroom in a situation like this. He made it so that the Jar of Soul didn't really provide much value. With Jar of Souls, you want stuff that has good death effects or good summon effect. You don't want cards with good attachments or good play effect. Like, for example, Fungi is an excellent card to pull off with the Jar of Souls. Mushroom, again, because it's a Fungi plus the Mushroom body. So, yeah, he ended up being a very underwhelming Jar of Souls.
Yeah, probably, I would say players are just a little bit tired at this point.
Makes sense, so, yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, I agree that it's probably a mistake from his side. I looked twice to see the reasoning to do that, but yeah, I didn't find any.
Yeah, definitely not the brightest play from Puppeteer, but he now has such few options. Spite and Malice to try and cover. He can go and use Scorch to remove one of the pieces. Not the best usage, but yeah, I mean, at least he removes some attack from one unit that can attack because it's not dazed. All the other ones are dazed, so for example, Puppeteer cannot crash the Fungi into an enemy and get the activation. Very nice clear here from the Fire Noble. I mean, at least it's providing some damage. It's chipping at the enemy's barriers and at the enemy's health in some cases, exposing the 4/1 Spite and Malice. And yeah, I guess the aggression can resume here. And I mean, he can afford to pay for the day's cost and to remove 3 of them if he doesn't have anything better to do.
He can trade his Tronblade and get the Windsword to his hand and apply it to some minion. True. So yeah, I guess trade 3/2 to 3/2 would make sense. And then applying it to probably Nico, or just to... Okay, he just removes the Nico and decides to buff his 2 minions this way, and he'll just remove the dazed from creatures. Also a very nice turn.
Yeah, really solid. I would remove the Wither from the matchstick, yeah, exactly. At least I get access to something with Wither. Yeah, I guess it's still pretty solid position from Puppeteer. Of course, we're getting closer to the touch the sky angle, but as of now, it's been cycled back into the deck, so Zato still needs to redraw it. And as I said before, there's a Prismata for Zato, which doesn't...
Is there second Wraith or something? Like, what is this play? Is this some kind of way to make 1 more damage to everyone?
I don't know. It's definitely making it even more riskier to Zato because he doesn't have a follow-up to this. I don't know why
he doesn't.
Yeah,
Okay,
he doesn't have a follow-up to this play. I mean, he has Prismata, he has touch chains to the lowest health unit and do 1 damage. But yeah, it's not gonna solve the whole board. There you go.
Okay. It is actually like it will remove all his board this way. Yeah. It just goes to.
Oh, you pick for each card.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sadly only one. It's extremely a strong card. This card, like Overdraft, I love it so much.
That's one actually, of the newer cards, right?
I've never
seen the card before. Okay.
And it made lots of changes. So now Puppeteer has Eldritch Lore. He can summon expensive spell, but he just decides to have a solid 9/11 board. Actually, Puppeteer has only his most expensive spell costs 3 mana, so this Eldritch Lore is not that expensive.
Zato's top deck is the Touch the Sky. I don't know if he wants to do it right now. He's gonna develop the Jungle Golem instead. I don't know. It could have actually been a good angle for the Touch the Sky here, because he's developing a board that's not necessarily countering the Scrapstrosity.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because actually Puppeteer is out of value. Like he will just he has 4 Doom Shrooms in his deck and one more in his hand. So it's
Let's
funny.
go.
The best, but Puppeteer also have Hydrox in his deck, so like it could make a very big difference. But so far, they will just wait. This Eldritch Lore, it's not that excited, as I said before. It's big removal. It's 2-3 mana removals. It could get him, but he just what he has on the board is basically all he got left. And Zato could draw cards. Lotus is good at it, and if he is if he has touched the sky, he'll be able to, I think, get this done just by having more cards than Puppeteer.
And I think he could have played the Mixolotron here, just to draw the best card possible and not that Potion Seller. He could have drawn the Frost Adept. I mean, right now he would draw the Genesis Avatar, since it's the highest cost. It would have been a poor use of the Mixolotron Dash, I admit that, but at the same time, it would have made for a much better draw. Okay, he gets the Genesis Avatar right now.
Okay. But he should play it, yes. Like, there is no reason to not play it. He doesn't know
Absolutely,
this last card
he doesn't have anything
hand.
else. He has Mixolotron, Touch the Sky, and Prismata.
So we can say that Puppeteer only have, like, let's say, Judgment or Crocus Pocus in his hand. So it's just removal. And to use Judgment, he needs to not have minions on board. And this Crypto actually most likely draws Doomshroom. He also can draw Hydrox through his Crypto. It would be very... he just top decks it naturally. It's funny. But it is the best card in his deck. He top decks it. And there is he needs to decide if he wants to play it or he gems it. He removes 6/8. He does it, so it doesn't shuffle his minions elements into the deck.
Like insanely good.
But if they have Touch the Sky, it's still 3/1s. He doesn't have a way to remove to kill the Hydrex, and he needs not only Touch the Sky but also get rid of these Vipers, because the Hydrex has lead, so it just doesn't. It's not going to be dusted.
Okay, well, that's still pretty insane how the turnaround that Eldritch Lore brought to the table together with the Hydrax. And yeah, Touch the Sky cannot dust the Hydrax because there's lead attached to it. So we're pretty much in a stalling position where Puppeteer is nowhere close to losing, though. I mean, he still has the 10-5 beatdown, which is guaranteeing the lethal. I honestly don't know what could happen here to help out Puppeteer.
Okay.
He goes for the Hydrate. Okay, desperate for something.
Cards.
He gets Deepest, a good guard, but not enough to remove.
But cards from Mixolatron are you know what you're going to top deck. You're just going to top deck 3 cards in the deck. So and it saves him so far. So these 3 Vipers. Puppeteer currently don't have a way to remove these 2 8s, so he'll not be able to just go face as easily as he wants to.
The Adept is really good though, allows it to be way cheaper to remove. So just face attack and 1 Viper attack.
Yeah.
1 Viper goes to the Hoplite and 1 Viper goes to the face, setting up a good possibility of lethal. Also, the Frostbite proc is really good.
Yeah, but it will be Touch the Sky, every time, and removing the Frostbite probably, and what else? What else he got? He got actually Archivist. Yes, Archivist. And if he can't remove an Archivist, it could kill him some health, and it would be very nice for him. Also, like, yes, he will discover these one cost spells, but he will not lose health by doing so. And he has 15 mana for a whole turn, so I guess it's likely that Zeta will find a way. Yeah. I mean, Miracle is actually quite expected. Like, he can actually. It is a normal situation where you can, like, your opponent doesn't have cards. Just you have 15 mana. You need to remove 3/8, 3/6, and 2/2 on board. And you also have this beautiful Archivist which heals you whenever you play a spell. So for you, it should be. I would say it's a good position for Zato.
Yeah. Also, there's a Guru in Zato's end with the possibility to Wind Whiff, but it brings the total mana to 7 because you pay 5 for the Guru and 3 for the Wind Whiff. Is not going, he immediately goes for Icy Touch, okay. And now he has to, I would have drawn first, of course, just to see what happens. So it's always correct to draw first.
But why is he not drawing then? I don't really understand.
I have no idea. He might be afraid of Conjuring. Okay, Mind Rune, really good. Sentry Key, there you go. That's one card that could save you. But he has to draw first. Like, a good habiting card can be so always draw first. And he gets Giga Bloom, which is not what he's looking for. So, okay, he doesn't get punished with a card that could have won in the game. Of course, he gets Ice Spy to remove. He doesn't get the remove though. Choosing that target, he has to daze something. He can daze the Bogey, I guess.
But...
No, I guess he tilted a little bit. He's not protecting himself the best way that he could. He could have dazed and left 1 mana hanging.
Dreyfus has a Gravekin, you hate to see this card.
Wow, that's nasty.
Yeah.
Bone Mask right now is so good. You start developing board out of nowhere, and also the Zomboid, when they die, of course, they're gonna deal 1 damage. So very good way to secure a lead. And you can even pay for the removal of the Frostbites on the 2 units. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he decides to not use the last one. He decides to remove from Bogey Frostbite. And yeah, where is... does he have a heal? That's the question. I mean, he had the Archivist last turn, but...
You have your answer. I mean, the best play that he has, it's Guru into...
This card draws gives 2 health, by the way.
Okay, wish deck. Conjure 2 light cards. Nefurt into Prismata. Okay.
Is it?
Yes.
Let's go.
Sky Channel for free. Moonbeam, Orchid. Orchid is discounting the whole end. And he has the salvage, he has the water line to get rid of most of the board. I'm
so sad we are not seeing Zato head right now.
I'm describing it. It's Orchid to discount the whole end, it's Sky Channel for 0, Burn to a Crisp for 0, Waterline, Dream Calling for 0, Salvage for 0, which gives also 1 extra mana. He has Judgment for 2 mana, and he can access the 2 mana with an extra mana from the Salvage. He could have board clear and stabilize here.
That's crazy. That is crazy what just happened.
Oh my god.
Just one little pokey can conjure it.
And he can get to the mass clear thanks
best.
to Waterline too, and he must have something. Now imagine if the Archivist was still in play. He would be getting so many HPs here.
Yeah.
Okay, he's removing. He can Waterline to get rid of 3 pieces. The Bogey. I mean, no, the Zomboid is not. Is Zomboid the cheapest? Yeah. So he has to ping the Zomboid somehow. Then he can Judgment. He's getting lost with the time though. He has Sky Channel. He has Dream Calling. He has to play those cards. He has to see his options. By the way, you don't see the cards. The viewers do.
Viewers do.
Remember
Okay.
that. So yeah. They're witnessing the miracle.
Okay.
Dream Calling, another Guru, but it's 3 mana, of course. Yes, Sky Channel and Burn to a Crisp.
But he doesn't have little still.
He doesn't have little still, yeah. He has to hold on to the Sky Channel.
Nice.
He has to hold on to the Sky Channel because it's costing him some HPs right now. And he's setting up lethal.
Okay. Now we are drawing. We are waiting to see the top deck.
Well, wasn't it always correct to... Okay, yes, Doomshroom, Zomboid. Okay. He might be safe. Sphinx, another guard minion, right?
He just passes the turn.
Oh, he drew back the Giga Bloom, of course. He could only draw the Giga Bloom now.
Yeah, but Giga Bloom heals for 2. It's like something.
Yes.
And it's also a banner.
Yes.
Because of...
Now he has to Sky Channel. Like the only card that he has Heldest and Sky Channel in his hand. What could he possibly do?
Also, this Pokey can attack and draw a card.
Either will is gonna conjure 2, and that's gonna hurt. But I guess it's the only chance that he has.
He first should attack with Pokey to give 2 health, because otherwise, if he conjures 2 cards and then attack with Pokey, I think he dies, just not heals. So he needs to do it in the right order here. I think a Pokey hit should be always a priority. Yeah, he does it.
Okay, yeah. Lost in the Fog. Very good. You can dust the Doomshroom here. With 4 mana removal. It's getting really intense. You do not gain access to the lethal or to the... I mean, it's really hard to just go for the either whale here. Because you conjure 2. It's really tough.
Oh, so he gains armor. Gains armor next turn.
Could gain armor next turn. I appreciate the choice of going to remove the Zomboid because he might have some buffs. He might have something. Ill Will to reveal the Doomshroom. Oh god. He's still setting up lethal. What's the card?
It's Silent Warden.
Oh.
Doesn't do much, to be honest. So it
of course, armor doesn't protect from the -1 from the conjurer cards.
I mean, if he kills Pokey, goes face, attacks the opponent hero, I think he should be fine. Like he just needs to survive this turn. And the next turn, the Lotus will just die. So all he needs to do to play Warden, kill the Pokey, leave 2 minions, leave 2 towns, 2 guards for 2 minions. He's safe on himself. He attacks face. Opponent goes to 1 next turn. So yeah, he's... until the other top decks, I don't know.
It's Giza. The 2 mana cat.
Yeah.
So it's over. What a game, though. What a game. I love Discovery and its pace. Like, it's slow pace, the chance to go through many cards.
Those games were extremely close. Like, it's like actually not that often, these close games.
It's true. I mean, most times you have this type of control mirrors, in my experience. It makes for games like this. But we didn't witness many games where one was like the favorite because the deck was just too good and the draws were just too bad on the opposing part. So it was really balanced series of games, thanks to the fact that most players were playing very control-ish decks that go through many cards, that cycle a lot, that try to control the pace and not just be really flashy, really aggressive. Like the only time that we had a very flashy games, agility was involved, of course.
Yeah.
It was the May against the Axel, I think it was. So wow, that was a really good reminder to me of how much I love Discovery. But at the same time, you gave me the sad news of Discovery not being available for Conquest again. So, okay, I get it.
You will enjoy new decks, but still, like, congratulations to Puppeteer. Like, very solid plays, very good lineup.
Solid lineup,
yeah, and it worked perfectly in the end. Like 3-0 this Lotus, very nice.
Yeah, super smart lineup. Really good to control the pace of every single game that he got into. There was no game that was left to the RNG gods or to YOLO plays. It's super good to see Discovery being so good after so many months. I'm definitely hooked back into the game. I hope I can count on my friend Kartoa here to get back on track for some constructed action. But
yes.
Yeah, this was all from us. I think we can show the bracket really briefly to show off our finalists and the guys that went in the money, as you should say. So a Puppeteer wins 120 USDC, while Zeto gains 60 USDC. The third place finalist winner, which was Infernix, won 2-0, is third place finals match against Keracross at 120 USDC. And that's all from us for today. It's been really smooth tournament. Really glad that we had the chance to have this collaboration together with Community Gaming and the Skyweaver creators. It's been really a blast. Thank you so much for supporting us in the hosting of this tournament. I guess, Kartoa, we can say you should be expecting more from Metaguild and more tournaments in Skyweaver for the upcoming months.
Yeah, surely. It was only the start. So guys, follow our social media, and you will see the new tournaments very soon.
Absolutely. So we'll keep you guys updated when another tournament is coming right up. And yeah, as Kartoa said, keep an eye out for the social media posts and of course to the Metaguild's Twitch channel for the upcoming streams. It's not going to be only Skyweaver. Our guys are involved in many other Web3 games. Kartoa is probably back streaming some constructed Skyweaver on Metaguild, as I was saying. So keep an eye out for that too. And I'll see you guys in the next tournament. Probably I'll be very happy to be your co-host and co-caster again, Kartoa.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me also, Volkat, and it was a very nice experience. I enjoyed it a lot, and see you very soon, guys.
See you guys to the next one.